Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I am Kristen Kozlowski, joined by our fabulous analysts, Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. Great to be back here with you today. Yesterday, we talked to half the teams in the Big 12 Conference. Today, we're going to round that out. But this is a stacked conference. No shortage of storylines and highlights going into 2025 season.
That's my favorite thing about Media Days. One, we got to see a little bit of their personalities, but also hear about what they've been working on this summer. They don't really get the opportunity to do that. We see them on the court, we see them playing, and we don't see how much work went into it. So giving them that platform to talk about it and just share everything that they're excited about is so great.
Yeah, I think it was really inspiring just to see the focus and the preparation and just the passion for this next season and all the work that's gone into it. So many talented players and coaches just giving it their all. It makes it fun to watch for us fans.
Well, excited to get to the other 8 teams here today, but before we do that, let's take a look at the preseason poll, which came out yesterday for the Big 12. BYU was chosen as the favorite to win the conference with 6 first-place votes, followed by Kansas and Arizona State, your reigning Big 12 2024 champions. And Alex, as we look at this, we know that BYU, Kansas, Arizona State are getting a lot of the headlines, but what are your thoughts on the parity of the conference and maybe somebody else climbing into that top 3 as we get going?
This poll gets me so excited because the top 5 teams are all receiving votes to be first, which shows how competitive they are. What team I'm most excited to watch, though, is TCU. The Frogs finished 5th last year, solid in an ultra-competitive Big 12. And with how their culture has evolved under Williams, I could see them pushing into that top 3 conversation if they stay healthy and find that rhythm early.
Also yesterday, the first AVCA preseason poll was released, with 6 Big 12 teams being featured. Reigning conference champs, Arizona State led the way at number 13, followed by Kansas at 14, BYU 19, Baylor 20, Utah at 23, and finally TCU at 25, with Houston and Arizona receiving votes. So Amy, what do you make of the discrepancies between the 2 polls as we're seeing that early?
Yeah, I mean, look at the difference there. I think that's amazing, and it really showcases what college volleyball is kind of becoming and all of the unknowns for the season. There's going to be increased experiences. You've got new players coming in, new coaches coming in and out of the transfer portal. It's the Wild West, and that's fun to look at because nobody knows what's going to happen. It's how do these programs take these disparate parts, put them together and alchemize them into something amazing that can end up getting through that whole season. And certainly in all the teams we've talked with, they've got the pieces. There's a lot of talent out there.
Well, let's jump right in with our first team of the day. The Houston Cougars, standing by with us on Zoom, is head coach David Rare. And David, thank you for joining us here today. Coach, we are super excited for another season at the helm. Your rapidly evolving program, mix of veterans, talented newcomers, and a recent international trip to the Dominican Republic. Cougars are coming in with something special for 2025. Coach, happy to have you here. Tell us about that tour and how the highlights kind of played out, the experiences you had when you went on the international tour.
You know, the main focus for me for the international tour is that the 10 days of practice you get before you leave, and then the chance to compete and see how that goes before we can start and kind of get a jump ahead. I thought it went well. I thought the team bonded pretty well, and I think we got further along as a volleyball team. So it was a well worth trip for us.
Coach, being on a foreign tour myself, I know how much extra stuff goes into that, not just the practice, but also the fun things that the team gets to do. What are some of those things off the court that y'all got to experience?
Well, just seeing Santo Domingo as a whole in the Dominican, and then just the kids got to spend time on the beach and just kind of relax and just enjoy, sightsee, and do all the things that a typical tourist would do, but the way a college girl would want to do it, of just kind of being able to have fun and be around their friends.
You've done an amazing job growing this program over the past few years. Coming into this season, what are your goals and how is your team going to make that jump to the next step?
I think we took a step backwards last year. A lot of different reasons we got there, but it's getting us back to our roots of what we did 3 to 4 years ago, and kind of rebuilding our culture and rebuilding the work ethic we have to put in. And through the Dominican trip, through the spring, and to where we are now, I think we've got a giant step in the right direction and really looking forward to our future.
And Coach, you blended some veterans coming back, some experience, but also new transfers, and that's the landscape of college volleyball as we look at it almost every single year. So what are the challenges that have presented that to you and your roster, and what are you seeing with the chemistry of this team?
I think the benefit for us is all the transfers came in at semester, so we've had them here since January, and then just all but 2 high school kids came in over the summer. So I think the culture has kind of been built with what we need to do. And then the key pieces of getting Kellen Morin back from injury, it's kind of just, we have a new team, but there's a lot of some veterans kind of hanging out with it, and the transfer kind of have stepped themselves into our culture and our kind of demands, and it's kind of flowing pretty well right now.
Coach, you touched on having Kellen Morin back in the gym after injury. What has that really meant for you to have her back, and what excites you most about her return?
Everything excites me about her return. It's hard to run a good offense and play a good defense without a quality middle, and losing Kellen, we thought we could band-aid it and kind of smoke and mirror it through the season, and it didn't work. We got exposed at some times, and having the rock and the player that she is coming back, and I think she's on a vengeance right now. She's doing really well since she got released, and then every day she gains more confidence, and every day she gains just that swagger back, and it's going to be fun to watch her play for real.
Well, and speaking of that offense, you've got a couple decisions to make specifically in the setter's role. Can you talk a little about all your players that are in the gym in that position and kind of what they bring to the floor and how you might be looking to evaluate who you want running that show?
Yeah, we've got 2 freshmen and they're both All-Americans in different worlds. So they've had some stability. Tennyson Fry graduated early and came in at semester and was training with us all spring, and she's done a really good job. Olivia Klimas came in after the high school season was over. High school time was over, came in and joined us in the summer. But then we got a transfer, and Lottie Scully came in from Binghamton. She was American East Setter of the Year, and so I like our core. I like what we're doing with that, and everybody's different. Tennyson has great size, great athleticism. Lottie can run the show, and then Olivia is just this little spark plug that can just kind of get you back if you need to kind of quick rally points and just kind of mess things up. She's the kid that's going to run it around for you.
Coach, we talked a little bit about that setter position, but let's talk about libero. Losing All-American Kate, what have you seen within the changes and then the newcomers coming into the gym just trying to take over that libero position?
Yeah, well, we returned Alana Torres Rivera in the spot, and she's got a season. She's a senior, and she has that kind of steadiness to her. And then we bring in another touted high school kid, and Jillian Pitts, and she's doing a really good job. She's solid. Like, that's playing at the level that she played at throughout the club and in the Dallas and the TAV kind of life. And she's been through those fights, and she's ready to take the job too. So it's a fun fight in our gym. So we've got a lot of competition going on in our gym. It's kind of fun to be involved right now.
That's for sure exciting. And as you mentioned last year, not quite the season that you wanted, but you are trending in the right direction overall. What excites you the most about your program, and particularly this group that you have this season?
That we're willing to work. We're willing to put the time in, and we're supporting each other and just doing the right things where there's zero like step back of what we're asking them to do. There's zero fight or kind of hesitation. Everybody's bought in to do the right thing, and no matter what I pull up, they'll just do it because they think it's the right thing and they trust me.
Well, and what were your goals as you look to schedule your preseason matches? Obviously, you wanted to learn about your team and gain some momentum going into a tough conference season. So is there anything you're excited about or looking forward to in that conference and preseason, those matches?
Yeah, we've kind of, if you can look at the schedule, it goes in where it's not all hard, and then it gets really hard, and then it kind of takes its foot off the gas and it gets hard again. But it's something where we've got to learn how to win. And I think that's something that you've got to get used to and gain confidence from. And then, seeing Kentucky and Purdue in a weekend, that's another one to get ready for. Seeing LSU in our building. I think there's going to be something where we've got to learn how to win and then trust what's going on when times go bad.
Coach, and with different polls coming out, we've seen how fierce the Big 12 is from the top to the bottom. What does Houston need to do this year to stay in the mix?
Just be us. I think if we go back to, we usually defend the heck out of it, and then we run a really quick offense now. We're bringing it back again and trying to get that tempo back up and just be solid with those, and then just trust our attackers and trust our passers and watch good things happen.
Well, head coach David Rare with us here today on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. A lot of insight, a lot of input on your team. We are excited to see what the Houston Cougars can do out on the court this season.
No, thanks for this.
All right, ladies, Houston picked 11th in the preseason. We're going to get to Kellen Moore in here in just a second, but what's your take on the incoming transfers as well as the freshmen he's got and what this team's really going to look like as the season plays out?
Well, I love what you said, what's this team going to look like? Because all of these coaches, they're wondering the same thing. You're putting together a team in the preseason, you play it out in those preseason matches and try to work out the kinks and then enter the gauntlet that is conference season. And hopefully by the end, you get what you're hoping for. Houston always puts together a good team and a good program, and they're always challenging in those tough roles.
But let's get to Kellen Moore, and joining us right now, a redshirt senior middle blocker for Houston. In 2023, she set the Cougars' single-season hitting percentage record, led the team in blocks, but then missed all of last season due to an injury, and now she's back. She's hopefully healthy as can be and ready to anchor Houston's front line. Kellen, first off, how does it feel to be back on the court after missing last season, and what has your rehab journey been like?
Yeah, I think if I could pick one word to describe how I'm feeling right now, it is a whole lot of gratitude. I'm very thankful for my training staff that has gotten me through this past year and a half of rehab. I'm thankful for my coaching staff and their patience with me, working back with me through my injury and what volleyball looks like for me post ACL surgery. I'm thankful for my family and for God, and I'm really excited to see what this season has in store for our team.
Kellen, I saw your post here. 216 dry needles, 2 PRP injections, 28 redshirted games, and over 6,300 TKEs. What was the mental toll and the physical toll that you had during this recovery?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of blood, sweat, and a lot of tears over the past year and a half, and I think that has just given me a large chip on my shoulder. This is a revenge tour. I'm really excited to put forth a great season of volleyball for everyone and for my coaching staff that has really helped me throughout this whole process. So I'm excited. It wasn't easy, but I'm all the better for it.
Well, you talk about that shift in perspective. How has your viewpoint changed on the entire game of volleyball and just the opportunity to be a college athlete?
Mm-hmm. I've definitely learned a lot about the game. Watching volleyball for the last year was, not something I wanted to do, but I'm very thankful I did. I have a new perspective on the game. I've come into the gym every day with the attitude that I get to do this. I do, especially after having it taken away. I get to come in the gym. I get to work for each rep. I get to play volleyball every day. I get to lift weights because last year at this time, I was not able to play volleyball. And so I'm so thankful to be back.
It's great to have that new perspective, right? When you're forced to sit out and then how grateful you are and blessed. I want to ask you a little bit about this team. What's some of the pre-game rituals? Maybe you have some superstitions from the coaches to the players on the team.
Yeah, we are serious when it comes to game time, but boy, does this team love to have fun. We're dancing. We love to do TikToks. I think as far as pre-game rituals, it's a lot of just, when the time comes, we're ready to go. So I think this team knows how to have fun, though.
Talking about fun, just how was the experience of going to the Dominican Republic with your teammates from just skill-wise and then also the stuff that y'all got to do off the court?
Yeah, I'm so grateful we got to go do that. I think the Dominican was a great experience for us. We got to play some high-level volleyball, and we got to get better at the trip. We also got to see a lot of cool things. I have never been out of the country personally, so it was super cool to see and explore a different culture. And just everyone in the Dominican was so nice to us. We had a joke that we were the chicas grandes because everyone just thought we were humongous girls walking around downtown Santo Domingo. So it was a really cool experience.
Well, and that's so fun to spend that time with teammates outside of the court and build that culture. As you look ahead to this season coming up, you've talked about goals. I love that you said revenge tour. Like, what is the focus and what is this team, their mindset going into this tough preseason and conference season?
Yeah, so I think practices right now have been super competitive. I think this is the deepest our roster has been in my 4 years at UH. If you would ask me for a starting lineup today, it wouldn't be the same what I would tell you it was yesterday. Our team is so deep, and that makes our gym so much better because everyone is just battling for a starting spot. I think our gym is just so competitive, and we are so excited to display what we've been working on for the past 6 months, past year in our preseason going into conference.
Tell us more about your head coach and what it's like to play for head coach David Rare on and off the court. Are we seeing what we get on the court as well as off the court with him?
For sure. I love Dave. Dave is like my second father. I think he was there for me through a lot of my rehab. You know, I've even come into his office and had boy troubles, knee troubles, everything. I think what you see is what you get with Coach Dave, and I appreciate him more than he knows. So I love Coach Dave.
And you've seen this program evolve over the years. What's different about this team compared to previous seasons?
I think the biggest thing that stands out to me for this team is just, I know I already touched on it, but how deep our roster is. I think the years that we went to the Sweet 16 in the second round, it was a clear cut of who was going to be our starting outsides, who were our starting middles, who was our starting right side game. It changes every day in our gym. Everyone is battling for a spot, and it just makes everyone better. So I think we are very deep, and I think we have a very talented roster.
This conference season is going to have a lot of fun matches. Are there any that you're particularly looking forward to? Any places that you especially love to go to battle in?
I am so focused on August 28th that I have not even thought about conference play. I'm ready to battle out this preseason and think about conference play when it arrives.
Well, Kellen, we are excited you are healthy. We look forward to seeing you back out on the court with your team, and I'm sure you're going to make a huge impact. Best of luck this season.
Thank you, ladies, for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right, Alex, having talked to Kellen, what a fantastic personality, and you can see the leadership that shines through when she was talking to us. How important is that going to be for this Houston team going into the season?
It's going to be so important. I mean, she has a different perspective being on the sidelines all of last season, but she also has a different type of momentum, a different type of fire underneath her that she wants to go out there and win this thing. So her being the leader at the top of this, one of the more experienced ones, is going to be everything for this team, especially when they have those transfers and those newcomers coming in.
Maybe not quite the season that Coach Rare said last year, right? This is something that he's building towards, having filled in some of those key pieces. So as you look at the roster, and we talked about returners and key pieces, where do you think this team realistically can finish?
Well, I think you never want to get into what can be, because everything's up in the air. And so I love the focus with, hey, next match, next play, next point. That's really where the focus is. And then you keep doing that and loading those, and then by the end of the season you've done amazing things. And so I love the focus of this team and how they're looking to just really get after it and really upset some people. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, that was just our first team of the day, ladies. We got 7 more to go. Up next, we're going to hear from the Colorado Buffs. Cannot wait to dive into their team and hear more from Big 12 volleyball when we return.
Our football coverage will be greater than ever before, thanks to this new partnership with TuneIn Radio.
Big 12 Radio. Big 12 Radio.
This is phenomenal.
Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
These great teams come together, man. It's gonna be exciting.
I'm excited, ready to get this season going.
Hey, it's our Executive James Westling from the Big 12 Today studio.
I'm Commissioner Yormark, and you're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
It's amazing what people can accomplish. Not just me, anybody. There's tons of people who have been successful by just not giving up, not quitting, just having a good attitude and just going to work.
How hard we worked. It's credit to those guys who put in work day in and day out.
You're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
There's gonna come a time where the Rabbit gonna have a gun too. Rabbit ain't had no gun last year. Rabbit gonna have a gun too, man.
Hey, it's our Executive James Westling, Big 12 Radio. What a big couple of weeks this is for the Big 12.
Now that we have year one under our belt, it's not so new anymore. Last year was uncharted territory.
What's next?
Big 12 Radio.
We brought teams in that have had recent success to sell out their stadiums, being in the new league.
I think that you might mess around and see Kansas in the Sweet 16.
The latest in insights, information on all the best teams in the Big 12.
Interviews with players, coaches, the commish, and we'll get Rachel's expert analysis.
This
is the Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Welcome back as we continue to preview Big 12 volleyball here with Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. Now let's get to the Colorado Buffs. We're excited to be joined by head coach Jesse Mahoney, who enters his 10th season leading the Colorado Buffaloes. With 3 NCAA tournament appearances under his belt and a renewed focus on player development, technical precision, he's guiding a talented and experienced Buff squad and trying to make a big statement in their second year back in the Big 12. Also joining us now is Lily Dwinell, a junior pin hit attacker, key returner for the Buffs. Lily was consistent force for the Buffs last season, tallying just over 400 kills, posting double-digit kills in 24 matches, and she brings a lot of experience and firepower to this squad. Coach, Lily, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Coach, last season you had your ups and downs, but your team showed flashes of real potential. What were your biggest takeaways from the 2024 season, and how have you continued to build upon that heading into this year?
Yeah, last year I think we were just a little young. We had a lot of new starters. We started 4 sophomores, played a 5th sophomore quite a bit, and like you said, we had flashes of the team that we wanted to be, and definitely some learning experience as well. So. Yeah, we're trying to get a little bit older and a little bit better this season.
Coach, with 5 of those 7 starters returning, what has been your focus in this offseason?
We've been trying to get better at everything, to be honest. Certainly need to be a little bit better offensively than we were a year ago. Pass and defend a little bit better. Really working on everything we can to try to squeeze out some extra points. We had a lot of matches that we were in and we lost, after 20. So just trying to get a little bit more consistent.
Lily, it's different now. Hey, you're a junior upperclassman, so this has been a few years of this team being the young one. You spent a lot of time on the floor. Now that you're the upperclassman, how does that feel to have a little bit of a surrounding team to support you? What's your thought process has been and your mindset coming into this season?
Yeah, I think it's super exciting to get into a new season. It's a blank slate and a fresh start, and I'm really excited to see how this team plays. And as you said, we're returning 5 of our starters, so just to really work on that consistency and getting to play together more. And also developing newer players. And yeah, I'm just super excited to get the season started.
I want to ask both of you this question. As your first year in the Big 12 a season ago, what were your takeaways from that, and what were your thoughts on the Big 12?
We came from the Pac-12, which obviously an elite volleyball conference, and I didn't really think there was any letdown in the Big 12, to be honest. The top end of the conference was super competitive. And the bottom end, was as well. So it was a really good, year from a competitive standpoint. I thought from top to bottom, getting used to the new venues and the new players and all that kind of stuff was a little bit of a challenge, but it was a challenge for everybody in the league.
Lily, and for you, same question. What are you thinking about the Big 12?
Yeah, obviously last season we walked into every game and we knew it was going to be a challenge no matter who we were playing. So the same thing, the competition is not let down at all. But it'll also be good to going into this year. We're more familiar with what it's like and the teams will play. And so, yeah, I think we'll just be more comfortable all around going into the season.
With every practice, there's only certain things you can work on. I'm wondering what the thought process was. 9 5-set matches last season. That's a lot of learning. So what did you guys change, and how are you stronger after coming off of that process? You did win 6 of those, I will say. So you are better in those, but that's a lot of volleyball, and I'm sure you want to, take away some things to work on for this season.
Yeah, and a lot of those 5-setters were early in the year for us. So, like you said, more opportunities to play volleyball and more opportunities for us to get better. So, obviously, there's a couple matches every year that you either lose or you go 5 when you feel like you could have closed it out in 3 or 4, and those are things that we work on every day to get just a little bit better and feel like we can play our best when the chips are down and when we're under a lot of pressure. I think we showed our age a couple times last year, and like you said, that's not an excuse this year. We got a lot of upperclassmen now.
Well, Coach, you returned 5 starters, a lot of experience coming in. How important is that, especially in the middle and on the pins for this team, and how are you relying on that, especially going into this preseason?
Yeah, I mean, we return 4 attackers, our top 4 attackers, and so that feels good. I think, we feel comfortable with what we're doing from a practice standpoint. We're not having to kind of learn everything as we go. We're kind of, our juniors and seniors are teaching the young kids instead of being taught as well. So that's been nice. And it's just nice to have a large portion of what you're doing. We know you can what you're going to get, and what you can count on day in and day out.
Lily, I know you've had a lot of open gyms this summer, also weight room sessions, and as a veteran, I'm sure you're talking to the newcomers and everyone else about just personal goals and team goals for this season. So what is one team goal that y'all have really locked in for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think our main goal for this season is to get to the NCAA tournament. We didn't make it the last 2 years, so I think we're all really hungry for that, and we're going to work really hard this season to achieve that.
Well, and Coach Mahoney, you've spent a lot of your career and life in Colorado, and what is it like to play in that state, and how have you seen the game change around you?
I've been really lucky having grown up in Colorado and coached at Colorado State, Denver, and now here. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The level of volleyball in Colorado just gets better year in and year out. The collegiate level is fantastic with Colorado State and us in Northern Colorado battling it out every year. And so, yeah, it's definitely been a blessing.
Oh, Lily, I know Coach is sitting right next to you, but tell us more about what it's like to play for Coach Jesse Mahoney. Don't hold back here. Is there anything that he does that's funny that you guys like to joke around about? Give us a little more insight in playing for Coach.
I think the best thing about playing for Coach is just his calmness on the court. Obviously, no one likes to be screamed at all the time, and so just having that balanced and calm presence all the time and to learn from that, like trying to grow as a leader myself, I think that's a great trait to have and to learn from that firsthand. I mean, I couldn't change it if I wanted to. I think it's just a really good person to look up to and to have guide our team, and yeah.
And Lily, we'll give you your flowers here too. Coach, what does it really mean to you, and what are some of your favorite experiences or moments that you've had with Lily?
Well, Lily's, I always say, a great kid. She's not a great, she's a young woman. She's grown up so much in the last couple years, works hard every day, has battled through injury that you don't necessarily see because she always plays, even when she's struggling physically. And she's kind of a quiet kid, but you can see like the thought bubble, when things are tough, you can see how much it grates on her and how competitive she is. And I love having her as a leader for this program because she gets after it every day.
Well, and looking ahead to this season, what are matches that you're looking forward to, both preseason and then in conference, and places that you're excited to play and battle?
You want to take this one, though?
I'd say for me, definitely preseason Colorado State. We had kind of that in-state rivalry going on, so those games are always just super high energy and super fun. And then going into actual season, honestly, I don't know. There's a lot of different places we're going to this year, so that'll be fun because just playing in new gyms, playing new teams, super exciting. But I'd probably say I always like going to Arizona, and I like their atmosphere and their gym. So, yeah, I like Arizona.
Well, head coach Jesse Mahoney and Lily Dwinell, thank you so much for joining us here today. We are excited to see what the Buffs can do this season and look forward to watching you out on the court.
Thank you very much. Go Buffs.
All right, ladies, coming up, we're going to hear from Cincinnati. Excited to keep this thing rolling as we get to visit with the Cincinnati Bearcats, dive into their team, get more insight. We'll continue with Big 12 Volleyball Media Days when we come back.
Welcome to Inside the 12. Said it, storylines and stars. Hollywood couldn't write a better script.
But not many can guard it the way that Houston does on the defensive side. Let's take a look. I cannot wait for that one. That one's going to be absolutely elite.
You cannot go wrong with the armadillo assassin. We all know that, right? The stakes could not be any higher.
There's losing, and then there's being the loser. Game time comes with enough pressure. Way too often, people are betting on sports, losing, and taking it out on the athletes. Only a loser would harass college athletes after losing a bet. But it happens almost every day. Root for your team. Get crazy when the buzzer sounds. But don't harass anyone because you lost a bet. It's time we draw the line and put an end to the abuse. Brought to you by the NCAA.
Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Kristen Kozlowski, joined by our fantastic analysts Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. We're going to turn our attention right to Cincinnati as we get with the Bearcats here today and new head coach Daniela Tomic. She comes to the Bearcats after 13 successful seasons at Bowling Green, where she won 5 MAC titles, 3 Coach of the Year honors, and led the Falcons to multiple NCAA tournament appearances. Now she brings all that winning tradition to the Big 12. Coach, thank you for being with us, and welcome to the Big 12.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You had incredible success at Bowling Green. What are you most excited about with this opportunity to take over at Cincinnati, lead the program into this Big 12 new era?
I'm excited to build another championship program. That's why I came to Cincinnati. I know we have work to do, but I'm just excited about this new start, and the people I'm here with, our team, my staff, the administration, the community, just many first times for me. You know, when you're a long time in a profession, it's hard to find first times, and I feel like almost a new coach starting a new journey together with a special team.
Coach, you've had sustained success at every single stop. How do you mix that in with the transfers, newcomers, and then those returners into the mix?
You know, we preach every day to our team, and I keep reminding myself it is about a process. I know some people, you know, might take it as a cliche, but it truly is putting the building blocks of a program when it comes to culture, you know, who we are, the identity of our program, who we want to become. Recruiting never stops, but also how do we retain our student athletes? And I believe if we can provide a great experience that they understand they're gonna grow beyond just becoming a really good volleyball players and be a part of a championship program. It's very important to me that I also know that they're gonna be ready and prepared for life after volleyball. So there's a lot of work. There's a lot of pieces that you have to put in place. It's again, just one day at a time, and our theme is win the day, and that's what we show up every day in the gym, in the weight room, in the classroom, just trying to get better every day a little bit. And I believe when you do that, winning takes care of itself eventually.
I'm sure with all this new, it's a fire hose of new information for you and the team and everyone. As you look ahead to this preseason and just these next few weeks, these preseason matches coming up, and then in the practices that there's not near enough of before you start, what are you hoping to learn about this team moving forward?
Yeah, great question. We are actually very grateful. We got an extra week of practice. We had 7 practices so far with the NCAA waiver that we got started a little bit earlier than planned, and we used it to the maximum. For us, you know, we had 4 months with our team this spring, but then we added 7 new players, and whenever you add even 1 new player, it changes the dynamics of the team. And I was excited to be back this August back in the gym, just to see how the returners and new players are gonna mesh. And I'm just very excited. Our team is close, and they're motivated, they're open to the new things that we're bringing in, they're working hard. But we got to get better. You know, every coach is going to tell you we'll find reasons, and then we are never satisfied. We always think we can get better. But it's just waiting for that. Also, we have an inter-squad scrimmage next week, and then our exhibition, and then the opener on the 29th. And every year it's you want to have somebody across the net who is different than your teammates to really see where we are and what we need to continue working on, what our strengths are, but get that first test, that first match under our belts, so we can again get back in the gym and continue getting better. And we are all excited about having that first opener. We are playing at home against Wake Forest, and then a very strong Michigan team that Sunday. So we will know where we are after that first weekend.
Well, Coach, with so many changes, and you mentioned the new faces, but one returning player that adds to your experience core is going to be Sydney Nolan. We're going to talk to her in just a little bit. But what can you tell us about Nolan and what she's done in this offseason to increase her game and take it a level up for you this season?
Sydney is a special type of player and a person, and I feel grateful to have a chance to coach her. She's the strongest when it comes physically. She really committed to herself to work hard. She hit her PR. She's a 10-8 right now, just strong. But what makes Sydney special is she's such a great teammate. She's a fun player to be around. I tell her often, like, if I was playing again, I would love to have her on my side. I mean, she's very good as a player, but she's just fun. She brings lightness to the team. She is all about the team, how she can help the team. She's a competitor. She competes in a quiet way, but you see the smile on her face, but she wants to get it killed. She wants to get it blocked. She wants to win. And I believe she's going to have a special season this year, and I'm excited to witness it.
Going off of that, coming in as a new coach, it can be hard to get everybody on the same page. How important has Nolan and Glendening been as returners? How important has that been to have their voices in the gym and also just a voice coming from the players during this preseason?
Sure. I mean, every coach is going to tell you when you have a team that it's led within, that you have a strong leadership in the locker room, you know that you have a chance of having a special championship team. Oftentimes at the beginning when you take over programs, and this is my third program that I'm building, it often starts with the coaches driving everything. And you mentioned two players, Sydney and Carly, but we have other returners, other seniors, Paige, Caroline. I can name several others who are just so bought in, and especially having 7 new teammates. And we talked about it in the spring, anticipating a big influx of new teammates and how we're going to help them, not just onboarding, not just the first week, but how are we going to incorporate our new teammates. And they've done a great job. I'm very, very pleased with that. And that's what also makes me very optimistic about not just this year, but the future of our program.
Well, and Coach, you've talked about, you've built a ton of very successful programs. Can you talk through a little bit of your coaching style and how you like to approach the game?
Great question. I believe we actually just came out from the classroom session, and I was talking to the team how my philosophy is always to build a team around the strengths of our players. I've had teams, we won championships with really, really good defense because that was our strength. Our offense wasn't good, so we just honed on our strengths. Then we won championships based on our strengths as an offensive team. We had some really, really good hitters. So you got to know your team. I believe, again, my job as a coach is to build a system around the strength of our players. We're going to of course, work on some of our weaknesses, so they're not huge liabilities, but I'm a strong believer of spending the most time on what we're really good. I also think players, teams that achieve the most have that unity. They're just really, really good teams. They have to play for something bigger than themselves. They have to surrender what they want for what the team needs. And when you have a great teammates on the team and the talent, then we have a chance again of doing something special and winning championships. So that's in a nutshell, again, what I believe. When it comes to coaching, I think, everybody's going to have a maybe similar or different opinions, how to coach serving, how to coach serve-receive, but the main principle is creating a team and a system around the strengths of our players.
Coach, new team, new conference, new schedule. What excites you the most about the Big 12? And then are there any games that you've got circled on your schedule right now that you're excited to play?
Yeah, you're right. I am so excited. This is a great league. The Big 12 had 6 teams in the NCAA tournament last year. Only one other conference had one more team than us. There's no easy opponent. Great coaches, great teams. We're going to be challenged every weekend. when it comes to, do I have a team circled? No, every team is going to be important to us. Every time we step on the court, the score is going to be 0-0 on the scoreboard. But maybe one, and it's just a little bit special because my last season with BGSU ended at Arizona in Tempe, and our last match this year is going to be against Arizona. So that's just a little bit special there, and it's going to be the first time actually celebrating Thanksgiving with a team being on the road. So I think that one, but I'm going to really cherish and be present in every weekend, every match, because this league is tough, and we're going to bring our best every day we step on the court.
Well, Coach Tomic, thank you so much for joining us. Cincinnati Bearcats are in good hands under your tutelage. We are excited to see what you guys can do on the court this season.
Thank you so much, and go Bearcats.
Well, I'm ready to go, ladies. I'm ready to play for her, and just the freshness that she brings, the experience, the level of winning that you can see it in her that she's going to instill. It may take a little bit of time, but boy, she's got a lot of great experience and insight coming into this program.
Yeah, I think also she's got such a great core to work with. So this team just being well coached and these talented players, it's going to be exciting to watch Cincinnati.
I love that she talked about how a lot of the players are taking the reins here. That's so important when a new coach comes in. We need buy-in, for it to work, and it looks like it's working out already.
She's got a lot of talent coming in. One of the players that we're going to hear from is Sydney Nolan. I'm excited to see what she says about a new head coach. It's always a transition, right? You're learning a new system. You've got new faces, not only with transfers, but when your staff is new. And that can be a challenge to retain players. So it says a lot that some of these core returners stayed with a brand new coach, head coach Tomic.
Oh, definitely. And I think to your point, it's about systems and how do you get teams to buy in and to change and be willing to learn. So I think those preseason matches for Cincinnati are going to be so important.
A lot of growth that we'll see over those. Well, let's get to our player now for the Cincinnati Bearcats, Sydney Nolan. She is joining us now, a key returning outside hitter for the Bearcats with a strong presence at the net, valuable leadership experience. She's poised to play a great role for Cincinnati, entering an exciting chapter under new head coach Tomic, and competes in the Big 12. Sydney, new coaching staff, a lot of changes. What is the energy like right now in the gym for your team?
Hi. Yeah, the energy is super great. I mean, we have great coaching leadership as well as great seniors leading us and other leadership keys. And we're just having a great time with it, having fun with it, and just being super competitive. So it's been great so far.
Sydney, you've played in the Big 12, the ACC, you've done it all. What excites you most about this conference and this team?
I think what excites me most about this team especially is everyone's willingness to learn and to do what it takes for each of us individually to come together to make this team as great as we can be as a whole, which is super exciting. And then we're just super excited to be able to compete another year in the Big 12 and take part in how competitive it is.
Well, I think to your point, there's a lot of different things that different coaches have to offer. And so you've learned in a system, and now you get to be a part of Coach Tomic's. What so far have you learned, or an outlook that's changed for you, or some insight that she's provided being in this new system?
Mm-hmm. I feel like an insight that she's had us as a team focus on a lot is more of our mental aspect of the game and ways that we can make ourselves better as a team by calming ourselves down or incorporating new tactics we haven't used before. So just learning and coming onto a new system, but it's been super exciting for us being able to take in these new techniques Coach has provided us with and being able to put them into use on the court.
As a leader on this team and one of the more experienced players, how do you adapt and try to help using your experience with the transfers coming in, some of the freshmen, a new coach? How do you keep everybody grounded and on the same page?
Yeah. Well, being a transfer myself, I know it can be difficult at times to come into a brand new team that most of them already know each other and everyone knows how each other plays with one another. So what we like to do here is we really put emphasis on building relationships off the court as well, which has been super helpful. And because of that, our team has become super close-knit and really fun to play with together on the court.
Sydney, you closed last season on fire, a 22-kill match at BYU. What really clicked for you at the end of the year, and then how are you carrying that into this season?
Yeah, so for me personally, a huge click at the end of the year was our team just discussed how we can really go out with a bang. And I think like we want to carry that into this year. Like, why wait so long to feel the confidence we felt at the end of the year and go for the big kill in certain moments? So I think our team this year is coming in with a huge sense of confidence and just playing every point as if it's our last.
All right, you're a pretty dominant player. You do it all, but I want to know what's better, right? A huge kill or a solo block or an ace or a dig?
I would say a solo block has got to be the best feeling for sure. Just super hype.
Why is that? Is it because you're stealing it from someone?
I'd say so. And I think it's just like, I feel like the whole team gets super into those. So it's a fun celebration with the team for sure.
Well, Coach was talking a lot about your traits that you have, the characteristics that she loves. She said she would love to play with a player like you, which I think is probably the biggest compliment. So let's flip the script. What is it like to play for head coach Tomic, and how has that experience been during that transition?
It's been amazing. She's been like super great, like to learn from. Like I feel like even though each of us individually have only been coached by her for a few months, I feel like I've gained so many valuable skills on the court as well as off. Like she teaches us to be very like well-rounded individuals, which to me means a lot because she cares for us so much as people as well as players. But to flip onto the court side, I feel like she's really honed in on some skills that we've wanted to focus on coming into this season, which has been super fun and awesome.
A lot of changes in the gym, but what has remained consistent about the goal for this team going into this season?
Yeah, I would say what's consistent is like everyone on our team wants to win. We want to compete at the highest level, and like we put in a ton of work in the off season. We feel super good about where we are. Obviously, we know like Coach touched on, we still have things we need to work on, but we're going to play to our strengths, and we're super excited for this season.
Well, I'm looking forward to those matches. Can you talk us through a few that you're excited about and what you're anticipating facing?
Mm-hmm. For sure. So like Coach said, I would say like we're taking on the aspect of like each match. We're trying to stay equally as excited for them all just because we have an opportunity with each of them to do something new, you know, have big moments. So I'm looking forward to each and every moment with this team and just taking in the little special moments that can make a season so special.
Sydney, we know you're one of the leaders on this team, but even sometimes you're going to need other people to lean on. Who have you really been leaning on in this offseason going into such big changes, coaching staff, and then just a new season ahead?
For sure. Our senior leadership has been amazing, and Carly Glendenning, Paige Pickering, and Caroline Indris, they've been great role models for each of us and great role models for me as well. And it's great to see their hard work and determination in the weight room, in the classroom, as well as on the court.
Well, thank you, Sydney Nolan of the Cincinnati Bearcats, for being with us here today. We are so excited to see what your team brings to the court under new head coach Tomic. Best of luck this season.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic from the Cincinnati Bearcats. New head coach, Sydney, you can tell, is ready to get going. We're going to keep this thing going as well here on the Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. When we come back, we are going to visit with the UCF Knights and dive into their program and what they are looking forward to for the 2025 season. Welcome back into Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I'm Kristen Kozlowski, joined by Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gantz. We're going to get right to the UCF Knights, who will be joining us here to dive into their team. Head coach Matt Botsford in his new season after a decade of success at Florida Gulf Coast, where he became one of the winningest active coaches in Division I volleyball, now at the helm in Orlando. He's aiming to lead a young and determined UCF squad back into the Big 12 contention. Coach, welcome to the Big 12. Thank you for joining us here today.
Pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
As you step into this new chapter with UCF, what drew you into this opportunity, and what are you most excited about as you take the reins of the Knights program?
Yeah, well, I had a firsthand view of UCF volleyball, only being 3 hours south, and had the opportunity to compete against them and watch them grow, and just had a great amount of respect for what they were doing, and I know what this place can be. Also followed the trajectory of the university and the athletic department as a whole, and you add in the city of Orlando from a location standpoint, and it all just made sense.
Coach, you've used the term reimagine time after time. What does that term mean for you, and how are you approaching this new era for UCF volleyball?
Yeah, we talk a lot about it. I want to steer away from this concept of rebuilding. There's a ton of talent here. There's a ton of history here. It is simply about reimagining what we can do and elevating this program to another level. And so, you know, it's getting creative and doing things perhaps a little bit differently, a new approach or spin on things. But I've tasked our players and our staff with exactly what you said, reimagining what this place can be, and we're excited about the future.
Well, I think you said it, Coach. You have some new faces, but you do have a really solid core returning. So what are you hoping these returning players will bring to the course of the season?
It's the experience, first and foremost. They've gone through it. They understand. And more than anybody in this locker room, they know the Big 12. The rest of us are going to be new to this. And we can dive into the film and we can read into the numbers. But until we're out there on the floor, they are the ones. They are the seasoned vets. So we're going to take all the information we can from them and help to utilize that as best we can to put ourselves in position to be successful.
It may take a little bit more time, but are you able to identify the identity of the team, and where do you want to see the culture of the program as you've taken over?
Yeah, I mean, the most important thing for me right now is building trust with one another, and certainly with our players, trusting the staff and knowing that our number one priority is to put them in position to be successful. But in terms of just characteristics beyond that, I'm looking for toughness. I'm looking for fierce competitors. I'm looking for people that are open to learning. You know, this is going to be about growth. And obviously there is a speed in that growth is helpful, of course. But yeah, I think those are the primary things right now. We've got a group of young women that are open, they're eager, they're ambitious, motivated, all the things that I could have asked for was already here, and then you add in our transfers and our incoming freshmen, and it's been exactly what I had hoped for.
Coach, what would success look like for you in year one, whether if it's in the standings or something internally within the team?
Well, if we're breathing, our goal is to be playing in the postseason, and so we want to be in that NCAA tournament, and we talk openly about it, and we understand that that means we've got to leapfrog some teams in the Big 12 to get there. But absolutely, that's going to be a goal every year that we're here. And then as we look a little bit further on, the goal is going to be to compete for championships. So there's a long road ahead to get to that point, but I think it's very realistic that we have these goals immediately. And so that's what we're going after.
And Coach, with those goals, obviously looking ahead to December, as you were planning your preseason and all the teams that you would play there and then moving into conference, what were you hoping to achieve and what do you want to learn about your team moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's about, well, first of all, we've got to learn to play with one another. It starts in the gym and our training, but being out on the floor in a competition is a little bit different. So early in that preseason, it's going to be about system transfer. It's going to be about finding the right combinations within the lineups to put us in the best position to succeed when the Big 12 conference play begins. And so there's some time and tinkering and experimenting during the preseason, and I think we'll be afforded some opportunities to do that. But we've got a lot of versatility, so that means our staff has to be creative and really pay attention to some of the finer details to determine exactly what group's going to give us the best chance to succeed at what time and what matchup.
Leadership can be so valuable to any team, and especially when you've got so much change going on. So what can you tell us about the leadership right now on your team and what players are stepping up for you?
Well, the returners, and we inherited just some amazing personalities, talented players. But when you talk about leadership, that was the thing that I wasn't quite sure what I would be walking into. I've gone through this before where you come in and you're kind of, again, that reimagining of a program and starting anew. And oftentimes there is a ton of attention that needs to be paid to the culture, the leadership skills, but that was not the case when I got here. I think that over the last decade plus, UCF has instilled in these young women a certain expectation and standard in terms of how they approach every day. So I've been really impressed with that. Their openness, but yeah, the leadership is in place already, and we're going to rely heavily on those returners, as I mentioned earlier.
Coach, so many moving pieces. Just how competitive is the gym right now with so many new faces trying to fight for those roles?
It's extremely competitive, which is exactly what we want. And it puts myself and my staff in a tough position to make some hard decisions when we get closer to day one. The athleticism, the skill level is exactly where we want it to be this early on. Of course, we have a lot of room to grow, but that's the fun part. But when we're in an environment like that learning curve, things get expedited, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Well, and I'm sure learning curve, you had one as well coming in, so much being thrown at you. What surprised you in a great way coming into it? I mean, you talked about the leadership, but is there anything or any player that you were just so excited to already find in place?
Well, I mean, I could name quite a few, but being able to come in, and I knew in advance of the position being offered and accepted. I mean, we do our due diligence, and you're looking at the talent that's going to be in the gym, the people that you are bringing back. And we have 3 returners from that starting lineup, an amazing setter, Ava Armour, who was preseason Big 12, and Sasha Cohen, who's a young player. These are 3 that saw quite a bit of time out there and were really successful. So to be able to build and put in people around that and fill in places around that made things a lot easier and, more importantly, more attractive for me.
You've brought in some big time transfers, English, Chapman, Thompson. How have they raised that competitive level and just the skill level in the gym early on?
Yeah, well, there's familiarity in each of those names. Both Skylar and Ella played for me for quite some time, and then Reagan played for one of our assistant coaches. So that helped make the transition easier. But you mentioned the word versatility, I think, and that's really the key. All of them can do multiple things well, and that's going to impact the people in the gym outside of them and their position. And so it's about raising the level. And so those 3 have done a wonderful job doing that and assisting the growth of the other players around them too.
Well, thank you, Coach Botsford. It has been an absolute pleasure to dive in more with you, with this team, the UCF Knights. We're looking forward to seeing you guys out there on the court
Pleasure
this
to
season.
talking to you guys. Can't wait to see you again in the future. Thank you so much.
Ladies, I want to get your thoughts really quick before we jump into our player athlete on this UCF team. And it's always difficult. This is the 3rd new coach in the Big 12 that we've been able to talk to. The transition of not only bringing in transfers, but a coach, a new system. Alex, how challenging can that be?
Oh, it's so challenging. I had to deal with it myself. You never know what you're going to get from a player standpoint of coaches coming in with new systems. Every conference plays a little bit different, and every conference has a different identity. So for him coming from FGCU, they may have a different identity than he's bringing in here, you know? So the players are going to have to adjust to that, but it seems like he's doing a great job early on of establishing what he wants from the players and the expectations in the gym.
Yeah, and I think to help that out is having so many returners. You know, new coach, tough, everyone new, even tougher. And so to have a good base settled in, they can make that transition a lot smoother.
Well, one of those that we're going to get to talk to is Abby Shomers, who's now joining us. And Abby, a 6-foot redshirt junior, a setter who started in all 27 matches last season, steady, experienced leader on the floor. You'll play a vital role in directing the Knights offense. With a new head coach, a young roster, presence, consistency, it's going to be so valuable in the Big 12. Thank you for joining us here today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
What has this transition been like for you with a new head coach? You've got a lot of transfers, but the fresh energy in the gym.
Yeah, the energy, you said it right there, is so refreshing. You know, coming back in the spring, we knew who Matt was. Obviously, he was very successful at FGCU, and the staff that he brought in, we were just so excited from day one. And we had all of our players bought in, and, we went into the gym the first day and just hit the ground running. And, they've started ever since they got here talking about how they're going to reimagine this program and rebuild. And we're super excited to be a part of that.
With so many new offensive options coming in, how have y'all worked on that chemistry and just trying to get the rhythm early on?
Yeah, I mean, for me being in the setter position, I always learn how can I make them better and how can I make them feel as comfortable as possible. So I'm always asking them, what do you need from me? And I'm always willing to go in, work on things in extra time. And so I think it's really just learning them on a personal level and on the court and in practice.
Well, and I think being in that setting position puts you in a leadership position, but then also being a 4-year returner puts you in a leadership position. So how do you take that on, and have you really enjoyed that leadership role, and what does it take to be a good leader?
Yeah, I thrive in the leadership role, and I'm super happy and honored to be in that role here. It's my second year being a formal captain, and I don't take that lightly. I honor it, and I go in the gym every single day and live my life as that. And I'm always working to get better and just never being settled. I'm always trying to learn more and learn my teammates more, and just help the program as much as I can for us to be successful.
Coming in with so many new pieces, it's hard to adjust, but what are some strengths that you've seen from the team this early on?
They're so competitive. We have 5 freshmen, and they are some of the most competitive people I've ever met. And then the transfers as well. So seeing all that competitive edge come out in practice just on day 2 here has been really, really exciting. And even in open gyms in the summer, we just saw the glimpse of what we're going to be this year, and it was super exciting. And we were so excited to just hit the ground running on day 1 in preseason.
Give us a little more insight with your team and maybe off the court personalities and what we are going to see this year from the UCF Knights.
Yeah, with the new faces, we have Skylar English, obviously, who was very established at FGCU. She's super dynamic, super aggressive, and she's a fierce competitor. So it's super fun playing with her. And playing against her, can be frustrating, but it helps us get better. And then, just the competitive energy and vibe all the way around, but also the fun and enthusiastic energy on and off the court is awesome. We pride ourselves here at UCF on building best friend relationships and honoring each other on and off the court, no matter what it is, and supporting each other. So we always try and be each other's #1 supporters.
And not much time off between seasons, although we don't see you. We know the work is going in there. So talk us through the end of last season and where you as an individual wanted to level up your game. And then as a team, what were some things that you guys worked on in the off season, and where will we see a change in the team coming in this season?
Yeah, the end of last season, I think a lot of us felt stuck. So I think we all had that eagerness to learn and just restart. And so, ground running in January with Coach Matt and the new staff, it was all having that growth mindset and being open to learning new things and building on the culture that we had here and making it more firm and more, strong. So yeah, that was super awesome throughout spring, and just having a competitive edge every single day. And spring, we honestly didn't have that many bodies in the gym, but it was super competitive every single day. We pushed ourselves like I've never seen it. It was a total 180 from fall. So that was super exciting. And then just seeing all the transfers, freshmen that we got in the span of just 6 months of the coaches being here, that was super exciting. And knowing that the transfers, all 3 of them coming from the coaches' previous schools, that says something that they wanted to follow those coaches. And I already believed that because I had been with them for 6 months, but just showing that is true, just trust and trusting each other throughout this next fall. And building on each other, being each other's #1 supporters.
Team chemistry is so important, but can be so difficult when you have so many new pieces like coaching staff and players. What have y'all been doing off of the court to make sure you really gel before the season starts?
Yeah, we live in Florida, so we go to the beach and do fun activities outside. We are going to do a board night here soon and build little charcuterie boards. But just doing little things like that are outside of the gym, I think are super important. And we've done that since my freshman year, and I think it builds just team chemistry And yes, that's needed on the court, but building those personal relationships off the court, I believe, are the most important. And then when you get on the court, you're able to relate to them on a personal and competitive level. And they know you're holding them accountable, and you're supporting them, and you just want the best for them. So yeah, building that team chemistry has been really important, and we have a lot of outgoing personalities, so that makes it really easy to do fun stuff outside of the gym, and then in the gym it's just even more fun.
Well, and playing in the Big 12, that's a lot of travel. It's hard on the mind and the body. Can you talk a little bit about how you get through that long season physically and mentally to ensure you're playing at your best?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a lot of travel. We don't have a ton of road trips once we're into the Big 12, actually, at all. So I would say just recovery tactics. Our trainer does a great job of just trying to keep us all healthy. And yeah, just learning like when to take a little break and when to push yourself to the next level, I think is super important, and being self-aware of what you need at that moment, which I think we all are good at doing. So that's really going to help. And then, yeah, just staying strong throughout season. It's a grind, but we've done it before, so we're ready to do it again.
Well, Abby, it's been an absolute joy to have you on here with us today at Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We are excited to see how you lead the Knights this year in your 2025 season.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
As we continue, we're going to now be joined with the BYU women's volleyball team. When we come back, let's keep it rolling on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We'll be back in a moment.
I did some soul searching.
I started praying. I said, whatever you're doing, just don't take this one.
Challenges come with pain,
There's no other story like it.
but pain will not win.
Your Jayhawks are national champions!
Pursue the dream.
Don't let anything stop you.
If I can make it this far, you can make it even further.
No matter what I do, all the glory go to God.
It's given me a great sense of purpose. This is my life's work.
The NCAA, driving change to do more for today's student athletes. The NCAA programs deliver $4 billion in scholarships every year. Those D1 scholarships are now guaranteed. Health and well-being services are mandatory. Student athletes get tutoring as well as financial literacy coaching, because almost everyone is going pro in something other than sports. The NCAA, driving change to do more for today's student athletes.
Welcome back into Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I am Kristen Kozlowski, joined with the fantastic Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gann as we keep things going down the list. We are super excited to be joined now by one of the most consistent and respected leaders in the sport, BYU head coach Heather Olmstead. She leads the Cougars to the NCAA tournament in each of her first 10 seasons, continues to keep BYU among the nation's elite, now navigating her third season in the Big 12 with a young core gaining experience, some exciting talent returning, arriving. Coach Olmstead, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Also alongside her is one of her standout middle blockers, Brielle Kemavor. And Brielle, one of the premier blockers in the country, a force at the net. You earned all Big 12 first team AVCA All-Region honors last season, also setting the BYU rally scoring era record with 31 solo blocks. That is just absolutely amazing. Brielle, we are excited to get to talk to you as well.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Brielle, let's start with you. You were a Big 12 lift student, athlete representative over the summer. And for those that aren't familiar or aware of the program, can you tell us more about it and what that experience was like?
100%. Yeah. So over the summer, I got to go to Orlando, Florida. And we got to, a group of student athletes, we got to put our voices into topics and changes that were being made and have that student athlete input. So LIFT stands for Leadership Initiative Future Team. And it's a group of student athletes that get to come together every couple of months and put our opinions and put our voices into key decisions that are being made that affect us. So I got to go and put my input in about a bunch of different things, and that was super, super cool, and I was super grateful to be able to go and represent.
Coach, you had a very young team last season. As you looked ahead to plan this current preseason to get ready for Big 12 play, what were your thoughts and goals going into it?
Yeah, understanding that we're still young, we've still got a lot of room to grow, and so scheduling is always a little finicky. You have some goals that you want to achieve, and so I think one of the things our schedule allows us to do is to play different lineups, to let our team compete. They're already competing a ton in practices and having a great time, and so that's going to continue through our preseason, getting us ready for conference. So it's going to be a benefit that we're going to be allowed to play different lineups. We're going to be tested for sure. We like some of the road games we have, and it's just going to be an opportunity for us to continue and grow. We've got new players we're implementing in our team, a couple transfers, and so it's a chance for us to still gather experience and figure out what this team's going to be about heading into the Big 12.
Coach, you talked about how you're still young, but you started 4 freshmen last season. Not a lot of high-level programs can be so successful with that. How has that early experience paid off going on into 2025?
Yeah, I mean, our team was incredible. The ups and downs, we had a lot of growing pains, but they experienced a lot through last year. We had a lot of opportunities to reflect, and they did a great job in the off season. We had 16 of our 18 players here in the spring, in the winter, able to compete together and play and implement more of our systems and get more experience. And so I think every time you get to play a match or a season with a team and they come back and they return, they're just expected to know a little bit more and play a little bit better, higher level. And I think you'll see that with our group and with our additions. They're hungry, they're excited, and it to be determined really what lessons we've learned. We've talked about the lessons. We know what we want to learn from it, but really it's going to come down to on the court, playing those matches. Have we really matured? Have we really grown? I know we have. I'm excited for them to show it to themselves, really, that we're a little bit better and we have more experience. We're hungry and they're excited. They're excited to compete.
This question is for both of you. As you enter year 3 here in the Big 12, what have you learned through the first 2 seasons? What do you expect, maybe new opponents at home, new venues to play in for this upcoming season?
Yeah, so we haven't played at Texas Tech and we haven't played at Baylor. And so it's crazy. We're going to our 3rd season. There's still venues we haven't been to. And we're excited about those opportunities. Every venue is great. It's been awesome. So those are exciting ventures for us to chat about. But really, 3rd year in, we understand that there's no night offs, that every game is a battle, that you respect all your opponents, that you really can't take much of a breather, and that we're in it for the long haul. We experienced quite a few 5-setters last year. Our team went through the gauntlet with that, and so we're hoping that serves us well this year. But you just never know when you've got a new group. We're still forming, And this year is going to be about this group. It's going to be about this team. We want to move forward from the past, but we're a year older, better. We've got players that were here now that weren't there last year. And so we really just want to move forward with this group.
Brielle, last season. Oh, go ahead. No.
Yeah, the only thing that I can add is that we're really, really focused on our plan and focused on what we want to do with our team when we go into these new venues and we go and play these teams. Because like we said, third year in, and there's still places we haven't been yet, but we're going in with our positive set mindset, and we have our plan, and we're going to stick to that. So that's what I would add.
Well, and Brielle, last season, your game exploded. You just got so good so fast. But, you know, to the fan, it looks like it happened overnight. We know there's a lot of hard work behind that. Can you kind of talk through the specifics of where you wanted to put the effort into improving your game?
100%, yes. So it started back in last January. So right after the season before last season. And it was about an 8-month long period. So from January to August, it was kind of my time frame of really, really focusing on a bunch of different things that I wanted to improve at. So I really, really honed in on my nutrition. Weightlifting was a really big thing, just trying to get stronger and faster and more explosive. That was one of my really, really big things that I wanted to contribute to the team. But then also the volleyball side of it. You have to be in the gym and work on the skills that you want. So lots of blocking reps, lots of hitting reps, getting other people to come and hit at me and things like that, just so I can improve and to help my team was my biggest thing. So it was about an 8-month period of every single day was a grind. There was no days off, that I really, really wanted to be the best I could be for my team.
And to follow up a little bit on that, Brielle, I want to know what it's been like for you to play for head coach Heather Olmstead and how she's impacted your growth as a player.
Yeah, I credit everything I do to Heather, honestly. When I was getting recruited, Heather was one of the really, really big deciding factors for me. I really loved the way that she coached and the style that she had. But she really likes to make us great players on the court, but then also great players off the court, and I really appreciate that. We talk about confident humility a lot. I think on my official, I don't even know if you know this, but on my official, she was talking about confident humility, and I literally have it written down in my notes app on my phone, confident humility, Heather Olmstead. And that's one thing that I've taken with me the entire time. I really, really super love that, being confident enough to trust your skills and trust your training and do what you need to do on the court, but being humble enough to know you can get better and to have that coachable mindset to be better. But yeah, I credit everything to Heather, all the opportunities that she's given me, and she's never stopped believing in me, ever. She is constantly like, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And a lot of the time my answer is, you're already doing great. Like, you're doing everything. So the opportunities that she gives us I'm super, super grateful for that.
Thanks.
Brielle, we can really see how you've already stepped into that leadership role. But for Coach, who are some of those other leaders that you've seen both vocally and by example?
Yeah, so just to piggyback off BK, I mean, what she did two off seasons ago was incredible. But the growth she had last spring, where she wasn't able to play as much this last spring, she was going through some stuff. And so her leadership just on the court with the teammates, with our culture, she grew in so many ways from her first spring to her second spring and now her junior year. Excited to see that leadership off the court combined with her physical ability. You know, she really knew what she wanted. She wanted to play. She put in the work and she earned it, you know, is playing based off her merit. So she's been a great leader for us in this offseason. We've got some older kids. We've got Hannah Builder, who's been here for 4 years, and she knows our culture, and she's doing a great job leading. We've got, you know, Mia, who's a junior, Claire, who's a junior. We've got a lot of different players. Alex is a freshman setter who's vocal and works hard. There's so many different leaders on our team that we want that to happen organically and naturally. We don't want to force it. And then we have some young players that all four of our freshmen came in January and were a great addition to our team. And they've been pretty vocal and pretty energetic and really want to get after it. And they've been able to raise the level in our gym competitively and talent-wise. And so leadership is going to be kind of a collective thing. It's to be determined exactly what that looks like. I think that's going to take some time as our team is still forming and figuring out who we are. but we definitely have players that have been here, that have done that are ready to keep moving forward and are hungry, like I mentioned.
And Coach, you talk about some of those new players. Obviously, Suli Davis, a player that most of the nation, it's been on their radar. She was a preseason pick for Freshman of the Year. Can you talk a little bit about her game? Obviously, she's got some great international experience as well, but what does she bring to the gym?
Yeah, one of the coolest things about Suli is just the resiliency that she showed from getting cut twice for the U19 team. Went out and tried, got cut, went out again, got cut, and her third time, is determined to make this U19 team, and she makes the team. That just shows incredible resilience and grit. And then she gets to Croatia, and she's on the bench, and she's playing right side, a position she's not familiar with. And then she's a starter as an outside, and then she's a serving sub. So in the course of 2 weeks, she did every position almost within her control, and did it really well and learned how to accept her roles, and she's able to bring that to our team. And she's a great 6 rotation outside hitter. She has great feel for the game. She's good at passing. She's got good toolbox shots offensively. She's an all-around great player. But I think who she is as a person, her resilience, and what she's going to bring to our team and the fight that she has. She plays with a lot of energy, a lot of competitive fire that really raises the level of the gym every day for us. And these girls got to keep up with her. And players like BK who are already fiery, and BK was stuffing a bunch of balls today in the gym, and it's so competitive, and they love to rise up. And so I think our freshmen just add to that, to the talent that we already have.
Brielle, you've been able to spend a little bit more time with the team considering how early we are into this season. How would you describe this season's team?
I would say gritty and competitive. Just like Heather said, the 4 freshmen that came in, they are really, really gritty. And I think that is a really good factor for our team. They add to our team super, super well. But just being able to come in and step into that role is awesome. But gritty and competitive, even in practices, we're fighting down to the wire, fighting down point by point by point. Nothing drops. Everyone's trying their hardest at getting that 1% better. And every single thing we do, doesn't matter if it's a sixes drill, if it's a little bit slower, more skill-wise ball control drill, everything is super, super competitive. Every side wants to win whatever drill we're working on. And we're vocal at the same time. The gym is always loud. We work on that all the time. There's always something you can be saying, even if you're not actively in the play or touching the ball. There's always something you can be saying. So gritty and competitive is definitely the words I would say to describe our team this year.
Well, Heather, you've led this BYU team to the NCAA tournament in each of the last 10 seasons. So what can we expect from this team? We've talked a lot about how the youth is now more experienced. You've got some important freshmen and transfers, but what are you most excited about with this team going into 2025?
Yeah, I would describe our team, to answer your question, as hungry and humble. And I think you're going to see that. You're going to see a team that's pretty hungry, that's competitive, has that fire, and they're humble enough to know, hey, we've got the talent, we've got returners, but that doesn't get us anything. We've got to go out and earn it, and I think they're excited to do that. And so they're gritty, they've got excitement, they're in it for the long haul, and so we're not going to move faster than we can walk. We're just going to take it day by day and try to stack those days as best we can. And we have taken it slow with the couple days extra we get to start. We haven't really tried to jump into it too quickly because they haven't had a ton of time together. We're still trying to figure out our systems, and it is competitive. There's going to be spots that are competing, and we're trying to figure that out, but we'll be ready, when season starts in a couple weeks.
Well, and Coach, talking, so many underclassmen starting last season. Claire Little-Chambers really coming on and being that go-to player for you guys. How has she impacted this team, and how is her work over the past year? What are you expecting for her?
Yeah, absolutely. She carried a heavy load. Everyone knows that last year. She was, a big part of our success, and teams targeted her, and she knew that was coming. We chatted about it, and she just took it with grace, and she stepped up, and she was incredible. And so she's really worked on, just refining her role as a 6 rotation outside, working on passing, working on defense. Can she still, she's got those toolbox shots. She's going to keep continuing to work on line, flat 5, sharp cross, all those things that are going to make her a great outside hitter. And then where can she add to our team as far as leadership goes, and how can she bring players along with her? And I would expect maybe she doesn't have to carry as heavy as a load with us getting older and with a little bit more experience. But she did a great job last year, and so looking forward to seeing her shine this year and everyone else stepping up and really helping her in the areas that they can.
Coach, you mentioned how all of the freshmen came in early in the spring, and that can be so important in terms of just skill level, getting acclimated to the university, the different, having to do school at the same time, academics. What has it really meant to have them in the gym early and get that extra time with them?
Yeah, honestly, I would like to ask them if they even feel like freshmen anymore. I think they forget, and I do, that they're actually going into their freshman year. It's so weird to think that they were here for 4 months and then another 4 months in the summer, but they're still entering their freshman year, second semester, but freshman year of college. So they feel like seasoned veterans. I don't know if they would say the same thing.
They don't feel like freshmen.
They don't feel like freshmen. It feels like we're united. We had 2 additions, in Emma and Elena this fall. So again, we're at 16, now we got 18, and we're going forward, and they're a part of our team. We want everyone to feel like they matter, that we need them. And then we're going to have to figure out what that looks like, and we're going to have to figure out how we can become a team. And we've talked about staying united. We've talked about playing for each other. We've talked about being all in for the team, and the we over me, and they're bought into that. And I think, that just comes with time as we enter and start competing and start getting to put some lineups out. How are we going to respond, and how are players going to back each other up, and what does that look like, and how close can this group get over the next 4 months?
It's so valuable to have those freshmen in early. And I know, BK, that you have been a huge part of that leadership and that example that they're following. I want to know what it's meant for you to wear that BYU across your jersey and how important that's been, and what you want to represent with the school, your team, your coach going into this season.
Yeah, wearing the Y, wearing that BYU across our chest, that is so, so important to me. There is no place like the Smith Fieldhouse and the team that we have developed and grown. There's no one else like our coaches. There's the energy and the fire. I just have to say pride. It's just pride. When there's so many people in one gym, on one team, working toward the same goal, the same wanting to win that match, wanting to win that point, all rooting for the Cougars. That's just a sense of energy and adrenaline and pride that you can't get anywhere else. And I'm super, super humbled to say that I get to be a part of that.
Well, and I think going into that, you talked about the Smith Fieldhouse. That's a place that a lot of people in the country really enjoy playing in, that they take their teams to test them. Can you talk a little bit about the fan support and just the environment and support through the school and the city in general for volleyball?
Yeah, so our fans are awesome. Our fans are great. We have our rock, and they show up to every single game. They cheer super loud. They have their signs ready, and our fan base is great. They are only supportive, and online and in person, it's always positive things that they're saying to us and always uplifting. So that's super, just that little extra fuel that if you need it, that they're there to back you up. But we know that they'll always show up. They'll show up, they'll show out. We always have a really good turnout at every single game. So we know that they're there to support us. But at the end of the day, it's what's happening on the court and our 18 and the coaches that are together, that is what's going to get the job done. But we love, love, love our fans, and we love that they get to support us from the outside.
Coach Heather Olmstead, outstanding middle blocker, and Brielle Kemavor, thank you so much for joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. We cannot wait to see the BYU Cougars out there on the court this year.
Thanks for having us.
Well, ladies, awesome stuff from BYU, the preseason favorite in the Big 12. They are fully loaded at every single position, Alex. And as we dove into some of the transfers and these freshmen coming in, so much experience coming back this year.
What stood out to me was the 4 starters last year that were freshmen. We almost never see that. They don't get that experience a lot of times, especially for big programs like this, until junior year, senior year. They have to play beneath people, but having that experience is going to be key for them going into the season. Also, having the preseason freshman of the year, they have a lot of youth, which can be stamina at the same time. So I'm super excited to see what they have.
Yeah, I think you speak to being sophomores. I don't think we can call this BYU team sophomores. They've put in so much time, and so these players on the floor they've done the work and they've run the gauntlet. So it's going to be interesting to see how coming together they can get through another season.
Excited to see what they can do. As we continue our coverage of Big 12 Volleyball Media Days, we are going to hear from the Baylor Bears when we come back. Excited to dive into what the Bears got going for 2025.
Our football coverage will be greater than ever before thanks to this new partnership with TuneIn Radio.
Big 12 Radio. Big 12 Radio.
This is phenomenal. Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
These great teams come together, man. It's gonna be exciting.
I'm excited, ready to get this season going.
Hey, it's Ari Temkin and James Westling from the Big 12 Today studio.
I'm Commissioner Yormark, and you're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
It's amazing what people can accomplish. Not just me, anybody. There's tons of people who have been successful by just not giving up, not quitting, just having a good attitude and just going to work.
How hard we worked. It's credit to those guys who put in work day in and day out.
You're listening to Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
There's gonna come a time where the Rabbit gonna have a gun too. Rabbit ain't had no gun last year. Rabbit gonna have a gun too, man.
Hey, it's Ari Temkin, James Westling, Big 12 Radio. What a big couple of weeks this is for the Big 12.
Now that we have year one under our belt, it's not so new anymore. Last year was uncharted territory.
What's next?
Big 12 Radio. We brought teams in that have had recent success to sell out their stadiums, being in the new league.
I think that you might mess around and see Kansas in the Sweet 16.
The latest in insights, information on all the best teams in the Big 12.
Interviews with players, coaches, the commish, and we'll get Rachel's expert analysis.
This is the Big 12 Radio on TuneIn.
NCAA athletes don't just compete, they make history. Representing our nation with pride and excellence, they bring home the hardware. Our college campuses serve as training grounds for the next generation of stars. Catch tomorrow's Olympians and Paralympians on the NCAA Championship stage today.
Welcome back into Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I am Kristen Kozlowski, joined by our fabulous analysts in Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. And we're going to keep this thing rolling as we now are joined by the Baylor Bears and head coach Ryan McGuire, the winningest coach in program history with over 20 wins at Baylor and an NCAA tournament streak that's reached 10 straight seasons. He's built a consistent contender in Waco. Also joining us now is Victoria Davis, a 6'2" middle blocker entering her third season with the Baylor Bears. Dynamic presence at the net. Victoria brings length, athleticism, valuable experience for Baylor's front line. Thank you both for joining us here at Big 12 Volleyball Media Days.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. Excited to join you and excited about the Big 12.
Well, you lost 9 players, coach, from last year's roster, but you've reloaded with a mix of experienced transfers, exciting freshmen. What stands out most to you about this new group heading into 2025?
Yeah, I think we're off to a really remarkable start. What stands out is how cohesive they are. I think when you graduate, and all these players that left us have graduated, others got to step up and kind of fill that void. But, we challenge everybody to be great leaders from their freshman year. And now we get to see the new personality of the 2025 team. And I've been nothing but thrilled since the start of it. It's been off to I couldn't imagine a better start so far.
Coach, 105 straight weeks on the AVCA polls, also going for a 10th NCAA bid. What keeps you energized as you enter your 10th year?
I get great players. As coaches, we're only as good as the athletes we have. And, I feel God's our head recruiting coordinator, and he's just brought so many great, talented people to Baylor. And, I think our job, our goal as coaches, be dream releasers within them and help take them to somewhere where they can't get to on their own. So I am always really motivated by the growth and the excitement that we see in the athletes. If we win a national championship, I think that's just a beautiful byproduct of doing it the right way. But at Baylor, we're at a place that we really get to pour in the athletes holistically and see incredible growth.
Victoria, every year you guys have a saying for the year and a goal. This year's it's Rise. Is that right? Can you explain how that's motivating you?
Yeah, this year our word is Rise. For me, I every single letter correlates with something, but for me, single-hearted, the S, is what I'm personally really focusing in on. I feel like just as a whole collective, as a group, it's really important that we're all going towards one vision, one goal, and that we're all on the same track through that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to learn with everybody. I'm excited to grow with everybody, and yeah.
Well, Coach, you've got 15 road matches this season, including your first one. How is that going to test this team early, and what are you looking for out of them as they respond to those challenges?
Yeah, I think each day in the gym and practice, we want it to be best practice possible. And each match that we're competing, we want them to be the best version of themselves and really, treat it like a national championship. So whatever butterflies you get, whatever pressure you feel, embrace that and enjoy that adversity. And then just, it's about the next play. Be focused on that next play mentality. So I'm looking forward to just see how we respond. We are younger in a lot of positions, and so love what we're seeing in the gym. And, my hope and dream is that we're going to see the same greatness come out of them in competition, on the road, as, we're playing a lot of ranked teams not at home this preseason.
And Victoria, you've got a stacked group of middles this year, from returners and transfers. What has the competition been like so far in the gym?
Oh, it's honestly been so much fun. I love our middle group so much and dearly. I really hope that every single one of us grow and reach our potential and just help each other. It's been competitive at the net, both on the attacking side and the blocking side. But we have a fun kind of back and forth competitiveness to it where we want to block the other person, but equally we want to make them a better player in general. So it's been a great time.
Well, and Coach, can you talk a little bit about what Victoria brings to this program? Very talented all the way around in the game, but why would an opponent really not want to face her?
Her strength of character. Tori is going to never back down to anybody. She's bringing her best every time. And she can elevate. She's able to elevate and annihilate, like one of her highest leapers on the team. But behind her, Tori's one of our captains this year. She brings out the best in others. So it's really if you're playing Tori, you're not just playing Tori, but you're bringing all of her sisters with her.
Well, quite the compliments from your coach for you, Victoria. I want to know what your pregame ritual is, or your mindset going into a match. Is there anything unique that you do every game day?
I wouldn't say anything particularly unique. But for me, I just want to highlight and use my God-given talents every single day. So to the best of my ability, I always pray before games and make sure I'm going in there with the right mindset in order to do that.
Coach, you lost 9 players after last season, but you've also returned a couple of key players. Can you talk a little bit about how they've kept the standard up in the gym?
Yeah, and I didn't lose 9 players, but I gained 9 friends because now we can call each other by first name. But no, it's I think our returners have been remarkable in just their response to it. There's a hunger, and it's been a long time since I read ideal player, but you got to be hungry, humble, and smart. And I think all of our team was just really hungry this summer. They've been really humble. They put others first. But we've been pretty smart in how we've gone about it. So the competitiveness in the gym, like there is no certain lineup or nothing certain right now. So we got to work through that and make that happen. But I think that's just bringing out the best in everybody. We see it off the court. We're seeing it on the courts, and just how invested the athletes are in taking care of themselves, loving themselves well so they can love each other well. and just how invested they are in the game. Like they're asking high volleyball IQ questions. I think unique to this team right now is like for all of us as coaches, there's no guards up. I feel we get to really coach extremely free without any hindrance of feedback being taken the wrong way and having to navigate, emotions, but they're responding, so it's a team with thick skin that wants to compete, but it's a team with tender hearts that really loves each other.
Well, and Coach, how has the portal and the importance of it changed the way you recruit, if any? Is there just a intensity to it? What kind of player are you looking for, and what does that process look like for you as you build a team for the next season?
Yeah, I don't know if there's an importance to the portal, but there's an importance for us in looking for athletes that have an incredible drive. I think the first thing I'm looking for is someone that's self-motivated, that can be mentally tough, that they can kind of call upon themselves, the ability to perform on command what they need, but has a hunger and has a drive. And I think for us, that's why I've been able to sustain some of the success, because it's, regardless on who's up the court, and when we faced injuries, it didn't matter. I felt like we're still moving as one body through that. I think of our, the freshmen that came in January, like Lauren Weesey, like one of our middles that just incredible heart, desire, and drive, and probably felt lost and drinking out of a fire hose out of the gate, is already having a voice and being immaculate and is motivating like Gabby and Tori and Nick, Manu and everyone. So we're getting inspiration from one another from top and bottom so far this season.
Coach, continuing on talking about some of those new faces that you brought up, let's dive a little bit more into those 3 transfers you brought in. What can you tell us about the impact that they can make immediately?
Yeah, I think they always bring experience, so they're battle tested in different gyms and different areas. I think all of us, they bring experiences both good and bad, like positive experiences that they want to see repeatable, that maybe they learned from their previous program that allow them to be successful. They also, bring experiences of, things didn't maybe go the way I wanted, and they embrace and strengthen the values and things that we have here at Baylor, and kind of highlight the relationships and kind of how we train that they feel is hopefully helping them grow, and they say is making them better.
Victoria, we've talked about the transfers, we've talked about the returners. Let's talk about the freshmen. What have you seen from them, and what excites you most about them going into their first season?
Yes, I adore our freshman class. They're honestly so much fun, both on and off the court. I feel like they're all very talented, but they really, really, really want to learn. And that's one key piece I feel like is really important for anyone coming into college, is just that ability to gain information fast and just learn from it and improve your skills at a high rate. Just seeing a lot of them from the spring until now, there's been so much growth, especially again in our middle class and our outsides and everyone. Everyone's just doing such a great job. So I'm excited to see them perform in actual gameplay.
Well, and Tori, you've been in the Big 12 for a couple of years now. How do you get through it? Going through, once you hit mid-October, it gets a little tough in there. So what do you do physically and mentally to ensure that you're playing your best, and how are you going to help these newcomers kind of navigate handling that long season?
Yeah, it is definitely hard. It is a long season, but it's all just a good time. I want to go through it. I want to be able to go from beginning to end and play my best volleyball. So for me, what's most important is being able to give a little bit of time back to myself on those off days and just really rest and make sure that all of my work is done and do things I enjoy, like sewing and fashion and everything like that. It just allows me to refill my cup to be able to go through this season.
And Coach, just to wrap things up, what should fans expect from this Baylor team in this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think 2 things. Expect the unexpected. We have a lot of depth. I think we can attack from antenna to antenna, middles are battling, great opposites, great outsides. I think as a coach, normally you kind of like a lineup that you love and stick with it, but I think we'll be able to adjust as the girls get going. And then I think you just expect a team that's gonna fight, that will be unwavering in how we compete and how we continue. And I think expect us to be better in November and December than we are in August and September.
Well, Coach Ryan McGuire and Victoria Davis, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all your insight into the Baylor Bears this season. Best of luck on the court.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff as we keep this going. Up next, we're going to hear from the 2024 reigning champs, your Arizona State Sun Devils, in their first season. A new look roster this year. Let's see what they have coming to the court for 2025.
Welcome to Inside the 12. Said it, storylines and stars. Hollywood couldn't write a better script.
But not many can guard it the way that Houston does on the defensive side. Let's take a look. I cannot wait for that one. That one's going to be absolutely elite.
You cannot go wrong with the armadillo assassin. We all know that, right? The stakes could not be any higher.
There's losing, and then there's being the loser. Game time comes with enough pressure. Way too often, people are betting on sports, losing, and taking it out on the athletes. Only a loser would harass college athletes after losing a bet. But it happens almost every day. Root for your team. Get crazy when the buzzer sounds. But don't harass anyone because you lost a bet. It's time we draw the line and put an end to the abuse. Brought to you by the NCAA.
Welcome back to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I am Kristen Kozlowski, joined with Alex Jean Glover and Amy Gant. We are going to jump right in to Arizona State Sun Devils, and joining us right now, we are thrilled to have head coach J.J. Van Niel, the reigning Big 12 Coach of the Year. He led the Sun Devils to a remarkable 30-3 record in 2024 and a Big 12 championship. Now entering his third season, he's signed through 2029 and is guiding a new-look roster in the 2025 campaign. Coach, thank you for joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, you've gone from a veteran-heavy roster to a group with 7 transfers, 4 freshmen. So how has this team been gelling so far in terms of chemistry and connection on the court?
I think they're doing a great job. Team's working really hard. Chemistry's definitely there. You should have seen him at dinner, freestyle rapping, which was pretty impressive. Although I think our strength coach, Jake, crushed all of them with his. No, it's a really fun team, and, you know, as culture matters to us a lot. And I think our players, from the veterans we've had, from the kids that are still we still got a couple that were on the first team I was here. Everyone is pretty passionate about that. So I think we do a really nice job of integrating athletes into our program.
Coach, you led the team to a Big 12 title for the first year in the conference. How has the mindset kind of shifted now that you're the hunted and not the hunter?
I don't know that it's ever shifted for me. And I don't think the team views it that way. I mean, obviously, especially this year, it's a 100% new starting lineup. So I think everyone's been really, really invested in getting better every single day on the court, and the team works very, very hard. It's our practices are really fun to watch.
Well, I think it's interesting, Coach, talking about this new climate in constantly changing athletics and volleyball in particular, with so many teams changing and getting new, but yet this emphasis on culture. And so that challenge for you, which I know you're a big culture guy, how do you continually have new players come in and integrate them into the culture?
That's a great question. I think there's two pieces of that. One is the people that have been there have to continue to want to carry that torch. And since when I walked in the door, we only had 9 players on our roster. But those 9 players were really, really valuable for helping us set the standards, kind of set what we wanted to do. And then every single time we brought anyone in, it's just continued. And so it just becomes self-fulfilling, because it's like, this is what we do. I mean, you'll talk to Bailey later, and Bailey's been here. She transferred in here last year, but she's carried that torch. And I think that's the most important piece. You got to have a team that, really is bought in to kind of continuing to invest in that side of things. And then obviously as a staff, you've got to make sure you're reinforcing it and are fired up about it. So.
Well, despite that roster turnover, as you mentioned, you've brought in some talent, and you're going after a certain caliber of players. So let's dive into some of the transfers that you're bringing in Parrott, in Burgess, in Frame, and talk a little bit more about what they're doing right now to be able to impact right away with this group.
Yeah, I mean, I think the start was in spring. Everyone's just getting used to kind of the systems we're going to run. We generally play kind of a faster style offense. There's certain things that we invest a lot of time in. And so I think is when new kids come in, they got to kind of get used to how we do things. And they have all done that. And the other one is compete. I feel like we have a pretty competitive gym. There's some nice battles going on in a few different positions, and they're getting after it. So it's really fun. Competing matters a lot.
And Coach, let's talk about you a little bit. You signed a contract extension into 2029. What does that long-term commitment mean to you and then the future of Sun Devil Volleyball?
Yeah, I was really excited to sign that. And, I think the number one thing is it's the support that the administration and the university has for volleyball. Especially in this day and age, you got to know that the athletic department and the university want to invest in volleyball, and they do. And I love it here. I love what we've already started to build here and want to continue to grow that. So it's really nice when there's a lot of alignment in sort of the long-term things that we're trying to do in volleyball and the athletic department's support of that.
Well, and you like to spend a lot of time on analytics. I know that about you. And with this limited practice time in preseason, how do the numbers help you decide where to allocate that very precious time?
Yeah, I think, for my process, we kind of start with the top-down view. You're looking at your roster makeup, and you kind of make a hypothesis of this is probably what we'll look like, or what our strengths and weaknesses would be. And then you go through and you kind of dig into some numbers, and you're just prioritizing based on that and how you're executing those. So today's an off day, and we've been spending all morning kind of going through our first 6 days of training just to make sure that things we're trying to get better at, we're getting better at. And if we're not, we got to change what we're doing.
Well, the program's energy has clearly shifted with you at the helm. What can you tell us about the fan support and what it's like for no one that has experienced a game in Desert Financial Arena? What is that like to come and watch a home match for you?
It's exciting. One of the reasons I wanted this job when it came open, and one of the reasons was, I was in the Pac-12 for quite some time, and I loved playing at DFA, I think it used to be called Wells Fargo Arena, but I loved playing in here because even if they didn't have a huge crowd, it was loud. And I think like the 942 crew, which is like the student section, they're fun. They come up with some pretty smart things to say to the opponents. So for me, I was always like, man, there's such a passion, even when they don't have the biggest crowds. But we've been fortunate, like I said, and I'm very passionate about trying to get bodies in our gym. And I think we've broken records both seasons. Right now we're averaging right around 3,400 per match, and the energy is just electric. Last year we had almost 5,000 against our Arizona match, and it was like a Wednesday night match. So those are the hardest, I think, to get huge crowds at. And I think the first set we ended up winning like 30-28, but I'm telling you, from like 22 on, I mean, everyone was standing. It was one of the most exciting matches I've ever been a part of. It was really fun, and the fans are great. They love our team. Our team does a great job with kind of community outreach and investing in all the little kids that come to our matches. We try to be really good there. And so they're like all little, I mean, our players are like stars when they're walking around. There was one time I was walking with a couple of my players, and two little girls come up. They don't even know who I am, but they're like, they knew. It was like, Jelly, Bryn, hi, and got their autographs. And we were not anywhere near campus. We had been at church, and it was pretty cool, and a good reminder of it's a good reminder for them of how much support they have around here, and how much they're kind of little idols to a lot of little girls around here.
Coach, let's touch on that preseason schedule just a little bit. What was your thought process when building that out, and how is that preparing you for Big 12 play?
I mean, I wanted to play some, good teams, and we had an opportunity to get some nice exposure playing, obviously Penn State and Pitt, two of the top of the country, right out of gate. And so for sure took that. Part of your preseason schedule is who's available and who can come to you, but I definitely try to build a little more strength than probably we've had the last couple years in our preseason. And again, I think the ability to have high-level competitions, and we got a lot of them on there. LMU's been good, Texas State's good. I mean, you can go down the list, and we're going to have some good, challenging matches. And your preseason, you're trying to figure everything out, and then obviously ultimately get ready for the start of conference play. And we open up with a tough road match with Kansas and Kansas State right out of the gate. So I think it'll help us with just prepping to get ready for some tough competition right away.
Well, and kind of looking ahead to conference, in that preseason poll, 5 different teams received first place votes. What does that tell you about the parity in the conference and what you're going to face as you head into conference play?
Yeah, I think one thing that's really fun about our conference is, and I think it was the same last year, is you could ask every coach in the conference to rank from 1 to 15, and every one of their rankings will look different. And that shows with all the different, first, I don't even know I didn't see the poll, but I would tell you that you ask anyone and you can mix it all up. And I think our conference this year is really interesting because there's not a ton of teams with a bunch of returners. I think a lot of teams are going to have some new looks. There might be 2 or 3 players that are the same, but there's a lot of new looks this year. So I think it's pretty exciting. It'll make for a really fun conference play because every match is going to be a huge competition, and any one match could be the difference between, making a tournament or not, or, finishing first or second in the conference, or, 7th or 8th. So.
Well, head coach JJ Van Niel, we want to thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here with us here today for taking the time. Wish you and your team the best of luck as you defend your Big 12 title this season.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Ladies, a little bit of thoughts here on this Arizona State team. Obviously, a huge season last year. First year in the Big 12. They come in, they're able to go 17-1 in Big 12 play and win the Big 12 title, but a new look, new roster. And as we heard from Coach, very challenging because there are so many teams in conference that have so many new faces.
So many new faces, but also you got to know that they have a little bit of a target on their back. Teams are going after that ring, especially in conference season. And like he said, the Big 12, it's 1 or 2 matches that can be the difference between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, or 8th, 9th, and 10th place. So you better take every match as seriously as the next one.
And Coach Van Niel, though, he gets his players ready. He knows how to coach a team to get them to come together, and they end up being really tough to beat.
Well, let's hear from one of his fantastic players in Bailey Miller as she is joining us. One of the top players for Arizona State coming in, a 2024 contributor who appeared in 27 matches and recorded 147 kills. Veteran-heavy team, now gone. New roster turnover, as we were talking about. Miller's going to step into a key leadership and offensive role this season. And Bailey, you're stepping in as one of the top returners this season. How has your role evolved from last year till now?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's definitely a different role from the fall. We had a lot of leaders, and they taught me so much about effective leadership and really prepared me for this. And I think just going into this role, building the trust of my team is a big thing for me. We have a lot of new girls, and like it can be hard to build that trust. So I think that's like one of the main things for me. And I think kind of proving that I'm ready to be in this position. They've seen me work so hard in this past spring and this summer. So I think that builds confidence in myself that they know I'm ready and that, you know, I can push them to be harder, to be better and hold them accountable, and they're really receptive to it. So it's been a great new journey for me.
Well, and Bailey, coming off such a great season last season, obviously people have left, new ones come in, but you learned a lot about what it takes, you know, to get through this conference, to really make a run in the NCAAs. What are you bringing into this season? How did you guys do that last year?
Yeah, I think this is a really difficult conference. Playing at, you know, my other school and here now, the Big 12, I'm very familiar with it. And it's really fun to play with such high-level competition. And I think going into it, we're, you know, ready to dominate, and, you know, no matter what anyone says, we know what's going on behind the scenes and how much work that we're putting in. So I think everyone's really excited to, you know, be competitive, that we're the most competitive gym I've ever been in. So it's really exciting to see the team, you know, mesh and, you know, get ready for the season, get excited. And we're just so hungry to get competing and show everyone what we're made of.
Bailey, you touched on it earlier, just how hard you've been working in this off-season. What have you personally been working on skill-wise to raise that impact that you have going into this season?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me was working on my physicality. I'm obviously already pretty big, but I've worked a lot with our strength trainer, and in the gym, I think I've been like the main one to push everybody to, you know, be their best in the weight room. And for myself, working on my vertical, getting super strong, that's been like my main focus. And nutritionally, you know, getting protein, you know, making sure I'm taking supplements, things like that, just the little things to stay intentional and get super strong and ready to go. And then in terms of in the gym, working with the coaches and watching film and getting my IQ up there, especially from, you know, last season being on the right and now this season moving back towards the outside. It's definitely, I have to be thinking about a lot of different things in terms of IQ. So just working with the coaches and the girls, and definitely with a new setter, that's been a big thing for us. So working in the gym and just things like that.
A lot of new faces with this roster, Bailey, and let's touch on that just a little bit more and how the team's coming together, the chemistry, the competitiveness in the gym. What have you seen early?
Yeah, like JJ touched on, we are really, really close. I think if you saw us, you would not think that we just, you know, met just a couple months ago in the spring. Like you said, last night at dinner, that's like a pretty common occurrence, just us being goofy with each other. And we've just meshed so well. Even the girls that just have gotten here within the past couple months, like Noemi and Colby, it's just been such a great transition for them and for us, and you genuinely could not tell that we are pretty much a brand new team, because we just want what's best for each other, and we already love each other so much. And I think that's just a testament to our culture and the coaches bringing in the right people that they know are not only good volleyball players but good people. So it makes it easy to love and trust these girls.
Well, after that off season, who in the gym has really surprised you that you're clear, like, wow, huge jump, made great strides, that you think is going to make a dent when we get to season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there are a ton of girls that have really showed what they're made of. I think one girl that I've seen her development a lot as a redshirt is Kyla. She is always coming in the gym with the best attitude, and just ready to go. And I think she has such a great mindset of competitiveness, and especially coming off from a season of not playing because of that red shirt, she's so ready to go. And, even competing up for that right side position with Noemi and other players, like, she's just seeing it as a challenge. And, no matter who is going to be on the court, I think we all realize that we're just making each other better. And so even if you're not getting that starting spot, you're still working 100% in the gym to make the team better. And I think everybody realizes that everyone has their own impact on the team. So she's been really fun to watch grow, just because I've seen her since, she first walked in the door to now. But yeah, there's a lot of pieces that I'm super excited for.
Obviously a phenomenal last season, but now we're starting with a clean slate. What are some of those goals y'all are having going into this season as a team, and then for you personally?
Yeah, I think as a team, we obviously want to defend that Big 12 championship. That's our main goal. We know it's not going to be an easy journey, and we just want to go out and compete at the end of the day, but that is one of our biggest goals. And making it to the tournament again is a big thing for the team and for the coaches. I think for myself, just really leaning into that leadership role and finding my voice is a big thing that I've been working on and that I want to continue working on in the season. And I think I've always really had more of a leading by example role. And so I need to find a way to pair it with that vocal role now that, I'm one of the returners and one of the, older players. So that's a big goal for me. I think everyone's just really excited to get out there and show everybody what we've been working on.
Well, Bailey, we want to thank you for joining us here today at the Big 12 Media Days. You've been an absolute pleasure to talk with. We wish you and the team the best of luck as we cheer on the Sun Devils, and excited to see what you bring to the court this year.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, up next, last but not least, we are going to get to our final team of Big 12 Volleyball Media Days, the Arizona Wildcats, your 2024 NIVC champions. Let's see what they have coming in for 2025. Welcome back into Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. I'm Kristen Kozlowski, Alex Jean Glover, Amy Gann, as we continue our coverage of this wonderful conference, looking forward to volleyball season. Right now, last but not least, we are joined by Arizona Wildcats and head coach Charita Stubbs, who led the Wildcats to a 2024 National Invitational Volleyball Championship, quickly building something special in Tucson. Now in her third season at the helm, she returns a talented core, welcomes a standout group of newcomers to Arizona as you gear up for another big year. Thank you for being with us here today, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Well, congrats again on that fantastic run last year with that 2024 NIVC title. How have you seen that postseason momentum carry over into the offseason and shape the mentality coming in this year?
It allowed us to come in the gym and be in a better place right off the bat. I think that the players were hungry and wanted to have that opportunity to play in front of our home crowd. And so having that chance to do that and come back in the gym, they were just motivated and ready to go right off the bat.
Coach, Avery had a massive freshman season, and so did Carly. Can you talk about the growth that you've seen even after their freshman season in the off season?
They walked in as highly decorated players, which I think is something that helped push and make us become a better program faster. I think that because they are used to winning and they were really motivated to be the best and come in and set a standard as freshmen, they played off each other a lot. And I think that that helped, and it allows others to want to be good with them. I mean, they're just able to do some things that other players don't see on a typical basis.
Coach, last season, finishing 11 straight wins in a row. Something must have just clicked there at the end. What in those returners changed that you can see that they've kind of carried in, and what happened? How'd you do that?
You know, it's actually kind of a sad story at first, but we played Kansas State, and I had bronchitis. I couldn't talk. I was literally on my deathbed, but had to fight through it, and we didn't play very well in that match. But they ended up having a team meeting afterwards, and they took over, our leadership just took over and said that, you know, we're going to become better, we're going to do the things that are necessary, and they never looked back. So we became more of a player-led program, which is exactly a coach's dream.
Without the bronchitis, though.
Absolutely.
Without it always, right? Well, this is your third year leading the Wildcats, and how have you seen the culture and that transition come? And going into the Big 12, what are you hoping to see from this team to continue with that culture?
Well, first of all, our culture is the most important thing to me. My players' happiness and their well-being I put before anything else. So I bring in players that will bond and mesh with what we're trying to build. One of the things that we try to do on a daily basis is be transparent and honest with one another. We don't hold anything back. We talk about it, we move on, and we get better. And I think as a result of that, it allows us to play hard for one another and with one another.
Coach, you had 4 freshmen enroll early and train in the spring. How valuable has that head start been for y'all?
I think just in general, volleyball players need a little bit more time to get ready. You know, we come in, we have about typically 20 days before we have to start school and whatnot, and it becomes overwhelming for a lot of the younger players. So anyone who has the ability to graduate early and come in and get acclimated with school helps a lot, and then you get to start doing some different things in the gym with them that they may not be familiar with, and just kind of relax without the pressure of knowing that you have to win right off the bat.
Well, and I think with those 3 all-conference players returning, have you noticed in the off-season anyone making a big shift or a big change, taking on a bigger role that you're expecting for this one?
I think that, you know, when Jordan Wilson first came to us, she was always known as a leader, but she was coming in with some players that had already been here, and so she was eager to just kind of jump out and take over right away, but then she held back a couple times, and we had a conversation. I remember we were in the hallway, and she kind of said, Rita, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve, and I gave her the green light for it, and she never looked back. And I think as a result of how dynamic she is and just how much of a great person she is, people want to play hard for her. I think her leadership is something that's invaluable to this program. And I think that the relationship she has with Avery, you know, and you want your setter to be the person that is the voice of what's going on because of the role that they play. The relationship the two of them have is something that's invaluable. And then Carly, who is just like that person that we just can't do without in a lot of aspects, just fills in all the different gaps and make this group amazing.
Coach, still early on, so maybe hard to tell right now, but what would you like to see the identity of this team be this season?
I always tell the players I want them to be a reflection of me, and I am that person that is energetic, upbeat, always competitive, probably competes a little too much sometimes, but that's okay. And I think that that is something that is in our wheelhouse. That is something that we're always striving to be. We were not satisfied. We were happy that we went to the NIBC and we won, and we got to play in front of our home crowd and play to the end of the year, and, you know, one of the last two teams standing. That was pretty awesome for us to be able to do that. But that is also just a stepping stone for us. We want to play in the NCAA tournament. We want to make it far. We want to compete. And every single day, that's what we talk about.
Let's dive into your schedule just a little bit, Coach, particularly the late part of preseason as you take on Nebraska, #1 ranked Nebraska at Nebraska, and you're going to follow that up starting Big 12 play on the road, Kansas State and Kansas. So as you look at your schedule and your preseason, what are you hoping to see out of this team early? And then what do you hope to see that has evolved by the time we hit Big 12 play?
Well, one of the reasons we scheduled the way we scheduled this year is to play a team that was in the NCAA tournament this past season, or a team that was really close to getting there. We were kind of told or led to believe that our strength of schedule during preseason last year wasn't where it needed to be. And that was the reason why we didn't get into the tournament. So we wanted to go out and just compete against the best that we could, knowing that we were returning a good core of our program, and, you know, we thrive in those situations. And so any chance you get to play the best, you get a chance to become one of the better teams.
Well, #1 Nebraska, that's pretty good. That's a pretty strong schedule right there. Looking to this conference, can you talk about just how it is to navigate the Big 12 and what it takes to be successful there?
I think, you know, just making sure your athletes are in a position where they're rested and they're focused on what's going on. You know, some of the travel is a little bit further, or you got to turn around quickly and get to the next place and compete. And so everything that we're doing is putting that in our mind and making sure that we're ready to go after it. You know, there's a couple places that we've never been to, so we have no idea what it's going to be like in their gym. But we're creating an environment here in Arizona that everyone's going to go, oh, I don't necessarily want to play there because of what our crowd and what our environment's going to be like.
Coach, as we dive into these schedules, are there any games in particular that you're looking forward to that you have circled on right now?
I'm looking forward to actually every match that we play. We're going to take it one match at a time. I don't put any pressure on the players or myself to say that this game has more value than the next, because every match matters, and at the end of the day, you just need to get the wins.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining us here on Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. It has been an absolute pleasure getting to know a little bit more about this Arizona team for 2025. We will look forward to seeing you guys out on the court.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Ladies, Arizona coming off a very successful season. Anytime you go out on a win at the end of your season is going to be a positive thing, carrying some of that momentum off that 2024 NIVC title. And Amy, how valuable is that with so much change, so much crossover, but to have that winning at the very end of your season to carry in?
I think that continuity, and there's such a balance between getting experience, but then also maintaining confidence. And I think Arizona has that, and they know that they finish strong. They have that confidence that they can win. And so as they go throughout preseason, they can just gain and roll with that with so many players returning.
And Alex, I like that she talked about the strength of schedule, right? That she felt like we needed to schedule stronger, schedule harder, so that as we look at our resume going in, it's going to help us into postseason.
And I really appreciate that about this team is they made adjustments. They heard, hey, your strength of schedule in preseason was not strong enough to make the tournament. And she flipped that a whole 360. She said, hey, we're going to take on Nebraska, a bunch of teams before we get to that regular season where the Big 12 in itself is so competitive. But we're not going to let them say that when it comes to deciding who's going to be in that NCAA tournament at the end of season.
Well, and I think also when you have players that return that are strong, as a coach, you have that confidence to schedule those tough teams because you know your players can handle it.
That will for sure be a tough stretch for them at the end of September. Well, let's continue with Arizona volleyball as we now get to talk to our student athlete for the Wildcats, Jordan Wilson. Welcome to Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. You had a standout 2024 season, all Big 12 first team, and AVCA region honors as well. This year, you're picked in the preseason All Big 12 Player of the Year, Player preseason watch list. What did you focus on in the offseason to elevate your game even further?
You know, in the offseason, I really focused on my passing and defense. That's like a really big key to my game that I think I could always work on and always use improvement for. As well as my blocking, I always focus on trying to be lined up well, or at least trying to get at least one hand on the ball or one touch. I would say those were like my main focuses, as well as getting more range into my attacks and opening my shot options. So not just going for a full swing, but also incorporating some shots, like some tips, some roll shots down the line, all of that.
You know, Jordan, thinking about last season for you guys, very interesting talking to Coach Stubbs, how it was such a 180 shift to have at one moment you guys just took over and then finished out the season. Can you talk through that and maybe how your mindset has changed coming into this season?
You know, this season, after last season, we were very happy about winning the NIVC, but we had a bigger goal in mind. Obviously, we want to make it to the NCAA tournament. So coming into this season, I have been very focused on grinding, playing hard, and just giving my all to the team and to the fans and to everyone who has put their work and their support and their effort into me, and returning the same and giving them the favor in return.
And Jordan, we just talked with Coach a few moments ago. How has Coach Stubbs really helped shape y'all's culture and confidence going into this season?
She's really, she's put in a lot of confidence into our girls, letting them know that you shouldn't be afraid to make any errors. You should always give your full effort, always give your all to the team, to the players, to the coaches, no matter what. And no matter what, everyone's going to have your back, no matter whether you make an error, whether you make a great play, everyone's going to be there for you. So.
Your team clearly has a lot of talent coming into this season. What has the chemistry been like and the competitiveness in the gym so far?
The competitiveness in the gym, the drive has been really high. So playing with this group of girls, they're so fun to play with. Everyone is, when they step into the gym, everyone's there to work hard. Everyone's there to win and just to give their all. Yeah, so I would say it's super competitive in the gym all the time, and I absolutely love playing with these girls.
Well, obviously, Jordan, you're super fun to watch, but I want you to talk about Avery and Carly and Journey. What makes them so great and so unique to play with on the floor?
Avery and Carly, they are such a dynamic duo, in my opinion. Having them side by side on the court, seeing them play together, as well as Journey. Just seeing them play together at such a high level for their age, I think it's so phenomenal and so fun to play by their side. They always give me such leverage, so much confidence in my game, knowing that if they can play at that kind of level, that I can do the same thing as well. So, yeah.
And you talked about really just how much fun you have playing with your teammates. Let's talk about that fun off the court. What have y'all been up to this summer?
A lot of team bonding. So a lot of our team, we love to go over to each other's apartments, our houses, and just spending time together. This season, a lot of us, we watched Love Island. I know that was a big thing for just the whole nationwide. A lot of us, we bonded over that. We love to go over to each other's places and cook, just to go over and swim, tan, do some art. A lot of us, we like to paint, we like to play with clay. So yeah, we just like to go over to each other's places.
And what makes Arizona such a unique and amazing place to play? What have you really enjoyed about spending your time there?
I've really enjoyed the community and how supported the athletics are here. Everywhere that I go, I always feel like I see something, in any kind of store, restaurant, there's always something there where it's supporting Arizona athletics, our brand. And Tucson in general, they're so proud to wear the A on their chest. There's just so much support behind our community, behind athletics. It's just fun to be there for.
Let's talk about your head coach for a little bit and what it's like to play for Coach Stubbs. What is she like on the court, off the court, and what value has she brought to your game and growing as a player?
I think that Rita, she is a very intense coach, but I absolutely love that. I love having a coach who is hard, who believes in me, and who wants to push me to the highest potential that I could possibly be. And she makes me want to play my hardest, to give my all, not just for her, but also for my teammates, for the fans, and to know that I'm not just playing for myself, I'm playing for everybody.
2024 NIVC champions, but we talked to Coach earlier, and she kind of touched on how that didn't feel like enough for y'all, that y'all wanted more. What are you looking forward to going into the season, and maybe some goals that y'all have as a team?
We're definitely wanting to make it to the NCAA tournament. Some goals that we have as a team is holding each other accountable and just always being disciplined, recognizing each other's mistakes or errors and not making it personal, but rather taking it as accountability and knowing that rather than looking down on it, we learn and we grow from it.
Well, and looking ahead, you've got a fun slate of games coming up, both preseason and during conference. Are there any that especially jump out to you as exciting places to travel to or teams to play, or maybe someone in the conference that you're looking for a little retribution?
I'm looking forward to always play like all teams as always, but one team that for sure, like Nebraska, they are the #1 team for the preseason ranking. Ever since I was told that our team was told that they were on our schedule, I've been looking forward to that game and keeping in mind to train to play at that highest level, not only to play against like the highest level team, but also to play in front of that crowd and in that kind of environment.
Well, as we wrap up talking about Arizona volleyball, what makes 2025 this team so special, and what do you want fans or those on the outside to know about Arizona volleyball?
I want them to know that all the work that we put in the gym is like, we're going to bring it all out on the court. We're always going to give you guys our all, and we're always going to perform to the fullest, to our best, no matter what, for you guys. We absolutely cherish and love your guys' support and how much you guys love to come to our games and just be there for the girls. We always look forward to seeing all of your beautiful faces at our games.
Well, thank you so much, Jordan, for joining us here today on the Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. An absolute pleasure learning more about you, about your coach, and this Arizona volleyball program. Best of luck this year.
Thank you.
All right, ladies, as we wrap this up, I cannot believe that we are through all 15 teams. We're at the end here, but I want to get your thoughts on some of the highlights and talking to some amazing coaches and some of these student athletes that are top-notch in this conference.
Well, I think what just stood out, 15 teams, but there was something consistent with all of them, and that was this focus and determination to work hard. They were dedicated, talented, just overall just quality human beings, and that's just such a fun thing to look forward to as we head into the conference season, because now we get to see them play each other and see all that hard work come to fruition.
I'm most excited for the competition. I mean, 15 teams, but 6 of them being the AVCA top 25 preseason poll. That's absolutely insane. With more of them receiving votes to be in there, the parity is going to be unmatched. We're going to have some teams who are going to be able to rise in those rankings, even in the first weeks of just regular season play. So I'm excited to see it all come together.
Well, it has been a terrific 2 days with you, especially Amy Gant, the fabulous Alex Jean Glover, and your insight and everything that we had going into this. And I just want to thank all of the coaches and all of the student athletes that joined us for Big 12 Volleyball Media Days, our production crew behind the scenes. First Serve cannot get here fast enough. That's a wrap for us here at Big 12 Volleyball Media Days. Thank you again to all of us, those that joined us. It has been a fun-filled 2 days of hard work behind the scenes that you don't see, but also from our fantastic analysts as well. That's it for the Big 12 Volleyball Media Days 2025. We are looking forward to this season as we wrap this up here in studio. Thank you for joining us.
I did some soul searching.
I started praying. I said, whatever you're doing, just don't take this one.
Challenges come with pain,
There's no other story like it.
but pain will not win.
Your Jayhawks are national champions!
Pursue the dream.
Don't let anything stop you.
If I can make it this far, you can make it even further.
No matter what I do, all the glory go to God.
It's given me a great sense of purpose.
This is my life's work.